All right, we are live.
Wayne's World, party time.
Time.
Excellent. Woo, woo.
It's Friday night. Where are you? It's Wayne's World. Waynestock. So we were at a thrift store the other day, and I found a Wayne's World T-shirt. It was pretty funny. I'm gonna turn the gain down a little bit on this mic because I gotta readjust it. How's that sound? Sound good?
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Talking.
Talkie, talkie.
Talkie. Yeah, it felt very like I was picking up a lot. So
Yeah. No, it sounds okay now.
sometimes you don't know until you actually start doing stuff how your sound check actually works. But hey, hello everyone. We are doing a live Man of Steel rewatch. Last month we did Superman Returns, and it was a good time. And this month we are doing Man of Steel, and we try to share it and get people involved. If someone joins along, we got James here as always, and
Hello.
we have Levi because Levi is a huge fan of this movie. And after conversations that you may have heard on our January or June, geez, I can't even remember what month it is in. This movie means a lot to him, so we thought we'd invite him to join us. So, how will you guys be watching tonight?
I've got my Blu-ray and
I am watching on my tablet. I've got the wife up here and the son is taking a nap, so we're going with quiet route.
Nice. Yeah, when James and I did our, I think it was the Suicide Squad watch, I just watched it on I had it downloaded on my tablet, and I was just watching it, chilling, and I was like, it's easy to do that when I'm doing it by myself, but when I have Solomon is on his way, he was getting lunch with his grandparents, and he's on his way. He wants to join us, so we're just kind of chit chatting, waiting on him. I will be watching my digital copy tonight, just because it was fast and easier to grab that, which will be fun. But I'm wearing my official "It's a Bird, It's a Plane" cast shirt tonight because I was out promoting the play this morning. James is wearing a classic style shirt.
yeah, for the most part. It's kind of got a little horizontal pattern in it, but other than that, it's very classic.
And Levi is rocking is that the Man of Steel?
It is the Man of Steel.
I was going to grab mine, but then I realized I don't actually have a Man of Steel shirt other than that black one I have with the symbol that was done for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I have the BVS Cavill symbol shirt because my Man of Steel one was destroyed by a dog.
My Man of Steel one is gone, and the only one I have for Henry Cavill is the black one with Superman flying. Henry Cavill in the black suit when he's flying, but it's a different image. It says Superman on it.
Every time I've still got the original one I got back in 2013 for Man of Steel, but every time like DC Shop actually puts up the Man of Steel one, I make sure to buy like two.
There you go. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for it and get something new because I wore it to death, so it's gone, and that's the only one I had.
Yeah, I retired my original one. It's that Hot Topic one. I think was the only. Yeah, but I still have it. It's retired. It doesn't get worn anymore, but it is never gonna get donated or tossed or anything.
Yeah.
So
Surprisingly, I got mine at Walmart when Walmart had the whole center aisle thing for Man of Steel when they did the preview and all that. I got mine there, and surprisingly, for one in 2013 and at Walmart, it was a very good quality fabric.
What's funny is my generic Walmart Superman shirt that I bought, this is like a blue and just as the symbol is really good quality. The new Superman shirt that I bought from Walmart, I've washed it I think twice. It shrunk up and then the symbol is like cracking. And I'm like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, unfortunately, most of mine end up cracking. This one's starting to crack.
that is why my original one got retired. It was cracking, and I couldn't bring myself to ruin it any further.
Well, speaking of like that one, the one that I had, it wasn't really cracking because it wasn't very thick. Like this one's actually a very thick, very, prominent print on the fabric. The way that one was, the way it was designed, it actually just more or less faded as the shirt wore thin. It didn't crack on me. Like I said, it wasn't a really good shirt.
That's crazy.
But I wore it to death because it was my favorite shirt.
Yeah, I have mine. I have a picture on my wall where Jania and I, with Solomon as a baby, met Jason Momoa, and that's the shirt that I'm wearing. And it was a good shirt, and I love it. But let's go back in time real quick, fellas. Back to 2012. Can you believe? And as we watch the film, okay, I want to kind of put us in the vacuum of Man of Steel kind of as a standalone, okay? Because I feel like even though like you do have BVS after this movie still is very much a self-contained style film. And next year we're going to do our live BVS watch for the 10-year anniversary. And then we can kind of have our discussions more about the broader scope of the character and what they did in the story and everything. But today we're kind of look at it like this, So in 2012, I remember Janine and I were having a big yard sale, okay? And during that time, they released one track from the soundtrack. I pre-ordered the soundtrack, and the song they released was Ignition. And I just remember listening to that, like bobbing my head, like, yeah, this is going to be something. Like, it's heavy. And Hans Zimmer and like just waves of drums going. And there was something unique, and maybe it's just part of it, like the time in our life when that film came out. We look at Superman Returns. I was in my let's see, I was like 21. Man of Steel, I'm in my later 20s. Here we are with Superman. I'm older. You can do the math. I'm not. And maybe just a perspective, but like the Man of Steel hype was just huge. I remember it just permeated that whole summer into the release of the home DVD, Blu-ray. I'm surprised Jania didn't want to divorce me as excited and much as I talked about it.
I think a lot of people look at it now through the lens of everything that happened with DC since then. But I mean, online, you couldn't escape it. Man of Steel is everywhere. There was, the Man of Steel versus the Avengers memes of, it took 6 of you to save the city. That's cute. I did it by myself and all that. Like, people like to retroactively look back and act like no one liked Man of Steel, but it was insanely popular that summer.
I remember the first time, so Man of Steel came out, then like a week after it is when Jania and I moved to North Carolina, and the first movie we saw when we got to North Carolina was Man of Steel. And I remember just listening to podcasts because that year is when I really got into podcast listening, and just listening and being excited and hearing some favorable podcast reviews, some really talking about some of the negative stuff. And I think some of the negative stuff, like I just kind of looked at this film like in a vacuum. Like, okay, this is what they're trying to do in this film. I understand because, going into a film, we often talk about how it should be the purest version of the character that represents all of it because that's what people are going to stick with. But Man of Steel, you have to understand when it came out, we hadn't got The Dark Knight Rises yet. So this was them trying to do Superman in the vein of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. And where Marvel, the MCU, had come out and they were trying to do more direct comic adaptations, DC had done the very realistic, more grounded version to Batman, and that worked. So they were putting that into Superman, and this is the film that we got. And I think that's something you have to take in consideration when watching this is it is this grounded. It is, and I know it's an alien, but you know what I mean. More
Well,
of a realistic take if this were to happen, more serious than Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, you're right. My brain, I flipped it. Thank you, Romello. Dark Knight Rises, we did have. It was the year after Dark Knight Rises. I was brain farting people. It's been a long week.
they were supposed to come out in the same year.
Yeah, they're supposed to both be, but yeah, we talked about this. Gosh, I'm so tired. It's like 3:00 and I'm ready for bed. I'm old, guys. I'm old. I broke down because I think in my mind I was remembering, oh yeah, Dark Knight, the teaser trailer, and I just kind of flipped it. But we had the conclusion of the Nolan trilogy, and this was the following year, and it was like a kind of spiritual continuation in the sense of like, oh, we are going to do this in the same vein, but in between. But what film, guys, came out in 2011 that was supposed to be more comic book accurate?
Green Lantern. That's the one you were thinking before.
Yes. And that didn't bow so well as they had hoped. So they kind of continued the serious, gritty, Nolanized film. So we got Man of Steel.
Yeah, and it's very grounded and real world-esque as it is with an alien with those abilities. I mean, that's what he tried to do, is the reaction of the world in a way to what an alien coming to Earth would be like. But it was incredibly science fiction. I mean, the whole world of Krypton, but it seemed like a real world that they lived on.
It's like taking a larger than life concept and boiling it down to, okay, yes, this is aliens, but how can we make it feel real in the world if this really happened? And I think the beauty of it is now that we're years removed from this, and maybe even further down the line, people look back and like, okay, that was a great version, and I see what they were doing, and it's just a different way of taking the character and looking at it through a different lens. Because sometimes when we're too close to it, people will judge it too harshly. Kind of like how right now there's been a big retroactive about, oh, Superman Returns is not that bad. I actually enjoy it, you know. So I just
right.
Go ahead.
Man of Steel 2 has this like weird, very vocal group that dislikes it, and I think that skews a lot of the conversation about the movie too. Because I just pulled it up, and believe me, I don't like Rotten Tomatoes at all, but the audience scores a 75% on there. It's pretty well liked by the general audience. I think a lot of the hate we get is mostly just the vocal minority, and I think Kevin Feige and James Gunn have talked about it. Most of the general audience couldn't tell you the difference between DC and Marvel. So,
oh, absolutely. When you talk about it all the time, somebody's like, "Yeah, I like that," and then they tell you somebody from the other universe.
You're like, okay, yes, Spider-Man is my favorite DC comic book character. Okay, buddy.
You're like, yeah, cool. That's Marvel, but yeah, I'm glad you enjoy a comic book character. That's awesome.
Let me just say about why I don't believe Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. 2016's Ghostbusters, 74% on the tomato meter, 49% on the popcorn meter. That's the meter I look at, is the popcorn meter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the 75% is the popcorn one on Man of Steel.
So I'm like, I'm going in like, okay, what is the most safe play by numbers superhero movie? Okay. 83% on the tomato meter, 85% on the popcorn meter, Ant-Man. Okay. How many times have I rewatched Ant-Man? Not that many. I think twice.
I was say maybe twice.
Do I enjoy it? Yeah. But is it one that I feel like really tried to do anything and step outside of itself? No. Okay. So, and I could go and pull more and more and more like references here, but Rotten Tomatoes is just what it is. Okay.
Yeah. But if you wanted to do a Paul Rudd marathon, Halloween 6 and Clueless and I Love You Man and Ant-Man. There you go.
Yeah. But like 74% on the tomato meter, 60 on Superman Returns. So it's like, what do people really want? And like, I enjoy Superman Unbound. Okay, I do. I just was on Michael Bailey's podcast and looked at it. It's 100% on the tomato meter with 5 reviews, 75% on the popcorn meter with 2,500 reviews. So, yeah, take things with a grain of salt. Like, yeah, it looks like Rotten Tomatoes says this, but seriously, like,
I mean, for context, I have Rotten Tomatoes blocked on every social media I have because I just can't stand it. But
I just can't stand people who only like, oh, if Rotten Tomatoes did not approve this, I am completely against it.
Yeah, that's wild stuff. Cinema Score.
Cinema Score is more interesting.
Yeah.
Because Cinema Score, their metrics is rating the film. It's supposed to be like they interview and rate people right after seeing the film. Like right here, where Mello says, "Do you guys trust Cinema Score? I saw recently this year, Man of Steel had an A- Cinema Score." See, I do. I look at that a little bit more, some validity there. I like IMDb because it's a 10-point scale, so there's more room to move around. It's not like 5 stars, 4 stars, where it's very narrow, and anybody can go there and rate on IMDb. I just feel that Rotten Tomatoes has gained too much weight, and it becomes the break score because the tomato meter is all the critics, and when you go into a film, like, what are you going for? Do you want to be entertained? Like, okay, for example, Minecraft. Was Minecraft a good movie? Okay, by any standards of filmmaking and story and plot, was Minecraft a good movie?
I'd say Minecraft in filmmaking was good in the realm of effects and cinematography. Other than that, no.
Okay, so 48% from the tomato meter, 85 from the popcorn meter. But was Minecraft entertaining? Yes,
absolutely. It was fun.
And did I laugh and have a good time hearing my children laugh and enjoy the movie? Yes. Okay. Do I feel that it was some cinematic achievement? No.
I think this is where sometimes for me, like, the internet's a bad thing because I think so much of movies has become scoreboard watching.
Yeah, and you don't just go to the film and enjoy it for yourself.
There's plenty of times that I'll go see a movie by myself, and my wife or someone will ask, was it worth going to see? And it's like, it was 2 hours I got to shut my brain off for. Like, yeah, it was worth it.
Oh, absolutely. I love going to the movies by myself. You know how people used to never like doing that? Freaking love going to the movies by myself. Do I love taking Jamie with me, or going with my kids to see a movie? Absolutely. But, I went and seen Terrifier 2. I don't get to go see too many movies by myself. One of the last ones I did get to see was Terrifier 2 when they did the re-release before they dropped the first trailer at the theater for the limited time it was there. And I got to go by myself, and I just got to sit back, just kick back in the friggin' theater by myself with a handful of other people, dozen people or whatever, and just like, yeah, this is good time.
Now, when Man of Steel came out, did you guys see it at midnight, or do you remember seeing like an earlier showing? I remember this was one of those showings where
I did the early Walmart showing.
It was like a preview showing, and it was like at 7 o'clock or something, or like it wasn't midnight. It was the Thursday before, and it was one of the earliest times I remember when they stopped doing the midnight premieres and started ticking down to like, just the evening before.
Yeah. That's funny because when Man of Steel did it, like, it's funny how quickly that's changed. That was 12 years ago, and it was like midnight showings. You had to buy special tickets to see an earlier showing than that, and then you get to, now you pick up tickets and you're going to see it at 3-4 in the afternoon the day before.
All right, I'm pulling something up right now just for interesting posts. While Solomon should be here, I love that kid. Thursday, okay, the kids want to see How to Train Your Dragon, okay? Thursday, the earliest showing is 3:30 at the theater right by my house. Okay. On the Thursday before the movie technically is released. Like, let's just be real, people. Movies secretly come out on Thursdays now, not Fridays. Fridays is when they promote it, but we all know the truth. Okay. It's Thursday. Okay.
It is now.
I'm looking at Thursday, June 12th at a different theater. The earliest showing is 2:00 for it. So it's, that's why I can't wait for Superman tickets to go on sale, and I'm buying them for Thursday. So
next week, countdown is real.
The countdown.
Yeah, I saw that they released the Fantastic Four, and I went on to my Cinemark app and I was looking and I searched it, and it's not even on there yet. I'm like, curse you.
Yeah, I don't need to buy advance tickets for Fantastic Four. I'll just I'll just walk into the theater. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to go to like the big screen for that. I would just go to the regular theater.
I'm going to the big screen for Superman, and if I can, I would go to the big screen to see Fantastic Four, but I don't have to.
James is like, I'm going to fly out to San Francisco to that IMAX where you have to actually buy your tickets through Ticketmaster and see Superman. Like, he's like, I'm going to go. I think, okay.
Like an observatorium.
Brian and I found that they're putting in one of those like 3-screen cinemas in like Columbus, where you have the screen here, but then the 2 side screens. I'm like, okay, that would be pretty rad, but it could also be crazy to where I'm like, but that could be something adventurous to go to. But what is the, when it comes to Man of Steel, like, what is one thing before we get started that you wish you could change about the movie?
That Russell Crowe's Jor-El Matrix didn't get deleted.
Okay.
My headcanon was always that if they would have done another movie, that Cyborg, since he could interact with the ship, would pull it out of the trash file.
Oh, that would have been something amazing. If, like, at the end of Justice League, like, Cyborg says, "Hey, I fixed something," and like it just like flickered, and then boom, there was Jor-El.
Russell Crowe's the gold standard for Jor-El for me. So
I think he did a great job. There is one thing that I don't like is I don't like the scene where Jor-El fights Zod, because to me, I would have directed it a little bit different. No offense to Zack Snyder, okay, where Jor-El is fighting Zod like with everything he has, and Zod's just kind of pushing him off, laughing, almost like he's playing with Jor-El, because Zod is aware, and then Jor-El gets that one like lucky punch in that pisses Zod off, and that's when he stabs him. That's just like a reaction. Because I'm like, Jor-El.
That makes him much more of a direct villain in that case,
But I mean, like, Jor-El's a scientist. Like, he was bred to be a scientist. Zod is a warrior that's bred to be a warrior. And you're telling me that this scientist, who is, because the way they show us the class system, is holding his own, fighting this like perfect warrior?
I mean,
I don't think
perfect warrior. I don't know.
That's his whole.
Bred and trained to be a warrior his entire life. Yes,
I've never took it so much as like they're genetically bred for a specific purpose. I've always looked at it like the Krypton version, where once they have the child's DNA, they look at it and say, "Oh, this child's going to be best suited for something."
Romello
that
here,
was kind of cool the way they did that in the Krypton show.
Romello throws, I would change when Jonathan Kent shows young Clark the ship and tells him how they found Clark. We get a flashback of the Kents discovering the ship and baby Kal-El. Yeah, I would have liked that too, like a flashback of because of how we cut. But wait, the door is opening.
But that's a great scene. That's a great scene though between with Kevin Costner. And,
that scene hits different
young
when you're
Clark.
a father too.
Yeah. But
Solomon has arrived. He is here.
The way that they described it in somewhat in this was to fill a specific role. So, like, if they needed a child, or if they needed another worker or scientist or something like that. You know, not that everybody was having kids. Like when they would get together, not automatically
Right.
input their DNA and have kids.
And
You
just
know?
just to jump back real quick, because we're about to
But
start.
also Krypton is like 200 years before Man of Steel. So like Man of Steel is kind of at a point where the planet is getting more desolate,
Yeah.
as it were.
All right. So real quick, because now Solomon's here. The pre-show's over, people. We're gonna start. He begged me to wait for him, and when your son wants to watch Superman, you make it happen. Okay. You know where the splitter is, Solomon? In the drawer. You know what I'm talking about? It's in my drawer, my big drawer. It's the white one. So what you're gonna say is, I kind of like, you're talking about how Man of Steel was everywhere and it permeated everything, and then Krypton was designed to be the prequel series to Man of Steel, and I kind of wonder what that show would have looked like had they kept that course, where it had, and then because they retooled it. That's part of why it got delayed being released, because they retooled it to be, because by the time that show came out, we were like we were already at Justice League.
Somewhere around there. It was much more generic Superman at that point, as opposed to
it was much more of an amalgamation of all things Krypton, kind of from before.
I do like, but I hate that they promised me the prequel show.
Yeah.
That show is still incredibly good, though.
If you haven't watched Krypton, everyone, you should. And now is the time. Okay, everybody. Let's see.
The beginning of season 1 is a little bit of a slow burn for about 4 episodes, but after that it picks up, and season 2 is really good.
All right, everybody, get to your menus. Okay. Let's get to.
I'm on 0.
I'm on my digital copy. I'm gonna hit play and try to get the 0. Oh wait. Okay, here we go.
We're at 1.
Hold on. We're back at 0. Levi, where are you at?
I'm good.
Okay, we're all at 0. We're gonna do like we always do. 1, 2, 3, then press play. Press play. Can't even talk anymore. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and play. All right. I'm seeing the WB sign turn.
With the Kryptonian writing on the sides.
It has the Time Warner Company. Now, I do love this intro. And I think, Levi, it was you that said, like, the DC, we'll call it the DCEU, or even just, it starts with his heartbeat.
I think it was James, yeah.
Or was it James? I knew it was one of you guys. It wasn't me. I knew that. And this is the movie that I watched the night Solomon was born, as he laid on my chest in the hospital. And I mean,
that's just touching.
Yes.
Is this the first movie I ever watched?
I would have been cool with it airing wherever we would have got more than 2 seasons, because that cliffhanger it ended on was unfair.
Yes. I wish they would have treated Krypton the way they treated Battlestar Galactica, where they gave it multiple seasons and several movies. I like how we start like close up. Like this is definitely from the first frames of this. Like we know we were in a different kind of. There's Mrs. Fisk. We are in a different.
It is Mrs. Fisk. I love that.
I always tell people, like, you can argue with the plot of this all you want, but the way this movie was filmed is sheer perfection.
I've heard people say that women say that that's the most realistic acting they've ever seen of a woman giving birth. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that.
There's baby Kal-El.
Not a clean baby, but
he's Kryptonian. That's how he does. But you're coming into this film, and you already know, like, this is a completely different character, like Superman. Like, this is something unique. And then this Krypton looks amazing.
I was so happy it wasn't the ice planet.
I agree. And like I was doing some research. It really was this goes back to why film is important. It really was Donner and his team that created and really cemented the ice look of Krypton. There's
yeah,
death.
but and I know that they've talked about sterile and very clean, and that gives off that image. But it also gives off a world that doesn't seem livable. Like
Right.
there wasn't even a place to sit.
Right.
You know?
Like, we didn't really get a how the world functioned.
Yeah. And it's an
Okay.
alien world, and you're not going to spend much time there. But still.
Okay, it still boggles my mind that Michael Shannon never wore a suit. He has no armor on. Like,
Yeah, that's amazing.
there's death from Supernatural.
Even in Blu-ray, it still looks like he's wearing armor. She is. Bayora is.
Yeah, Jarell is.
Yeah. Richard Citrone right there is.
Good old Richard Citrone.
Yeah.
We're friends on Facebook. Woo!
Yes, we are.
I just like this is so like imaginative. It's something fresh, and that's really what we needed. And I love the way that Krypton, the TV series, was able to like, hey, we're gonna blend the two different versions of the planet, and make like a really interesting Krypton that exists between both worlds. Not the monster you've become. Michael Shannon's such a good actor. I think I'm like a beat above James.
You are just a tad ahead of me.
Of you? All right. See, that's the fun. All right, we're gonna try something. Okay, ready?
I hear him say it.
All right. I tried to do the pause thing, so let's see. Get me Lara.
Sure.
All right, I'm
He's
close.
still slightly ahead of me.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I think I'm closer. Like I remember this shot in the trailer, and just being like, "Dear God, that's beautiful."
Yeah, I was excited.
Well, I mean, like we talked about, like this is Snyder.
And you knew it was Krypton. And yeah, I was so excited when I knew it was going to be Snyder doing Superman.
I'm so
I knew the
surprised.
visuals were going to be unparalleled.
I'm surprised James didn't name his dog Haraka and just run.
Don't tempt us.
I might. I was going to say I want a dog. We're talking about one. We're not getting one yet. When we do.
This was Snyder, using a different cinematographer and approaching the camera work differently than he had in his previous films. Like he did this all handheld, and I remember because I was like, "Oh, the Superman slow mo is going to be amazing," and there isn't any in this. Like,
No, it's all super speed.
so I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "All right." That's what because that was one thing I was like, Snyder does slow mo power. I'm like, "Sweet." So Superman's going to look awesome, and we didn't get any of that.
Right.
No, I like. Oh, thanks, Pap.
How's that?
Bye, Mom. My mom, first time on the podcast, everybody.
Hello.
My baby boy.
Yeah.
I know he's gonna hate that. But anyway.
This is so Matrixy looking right here.
Right. The Genesis chamber.
Yeah. Now I love the look of Jarell's suit, like and how his symbol is, where it's like a black.
I think you're right, though, James. I think approaching this as a sci-fi movie was definitely the way to go. A first contact movie, like
Yeah.
it's so, this is alien, but it feels familiar, but like it's still very like sci-fi.
Right, and that's probably one of the reasons why I enjoy it so much, because I love sci-fi.
Surrender the Codex.
The Codex. What?
So the way that they do the planet, though, like the way that it's layered, and the carvings through it, like that's how they've dug into the planet over hundreds of thousands of years. Like there
Yeah.
are different levels of the planet from mining it and using resources in different areas.
These shots, I still can't believe this movie is what, 12 years old? Like it is.
I'll
This
say
is better than Thunderbolts, which I saw in theaters 2 weeks ago, in terms of quality of effects.
you know, my thing is with it,
You see the moon in the background that was blown up by Jack Sir.
yes. But my thing is, think about like what other movies are coming out at this time. We hadn't got inundated with like how many Marvel films or DC films are coming out where effects houses were extremely overworked now, and they don't want to hire a lot of people. So you're having these films done faster, and they have to reach these completion dates. You look at something like this, where on this magnitude, there wasn't as many films coming out constantly that you could get, you know.
I think that, and I think we talked about it when we did our Henry Cavill look back, that they filmed in 2011. They had 2 years of post on this movie. So
Yeah, they filmed in 2011, and the idea was to release in 2012 December, and they pushed
Well, so check this. So check this out. When you follow a director's filmography, okay, how they're always working on something, how they go from year to year, or how many years in between projects. There is a podcast called From First to Last, and they did a series on Zack Snyder.
That was a great.
And they
podcast.
talk. It was a really great podcast, and they talk about the time in between and the time he's been working on these projects, and he is extremely meticulous for a long time to get these movies to look the way they are. He already has the idea and the storyboard set out to get it sent into the effects people, you know, earlier than a lot of people do in their post.
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of it comes down to, I mean, you know, Warner Brothers for the longest time was a studio that was very driven by directors, letting directors do their visions, and was a very, but I feel like after this, when they tried to compete with Marvel, they just really went down.
Well, when this movie came out, they had already released Avengers.
Yep.
They had already been into their phase 2, so they had a shared universe. And when this comes out, by the next movie, they want to feel like they're going to be doing Avengers by the third movie. And that's just some history, you know? I mean,
the beginning of Warner Brothers learning the wrong lesson every time.
And that's just unique right there.
yeah, that's beautiful.
I wish I had a sweet family coat of arms that I could just like put on everything.
You can make it, man. You can really do that.
That's so cool looking at him get his armor.
Yeah, I like how the machine puts it on. It's not as cool as the way Iron Man's comes and goes, but still pretty awesome.
I like Jor-El's look. Okay, I like Jor-El's look because I feel like he looks young enough.
Yeah.
Phantom Drive and
That's a cool, interesting way of doing it. Like the idea that you like almost use the Phantom Zone as like a gateway for interstellar travel.
I like the reveal through the smoke.
That shot is so good.
And he walks right under the shuttle.
What, buddy? I'll be waiting. Hershey. That's my favorite line delivery.
I mean, how long has Clark been born?
Like a day?
Michael Shannon's so good.
I honestly think Clark could be born for like a month.
Yes, it is, Romero. It is. She plays Mrs. Fisk and Clark's mom. I like her up better in this than I do in Daredevil.
Well, also, I mean, you got to give it up to Jor-El in this moment. Like, he is fighting for his son's life. He's trying to shoot it down. Like, he's fighting for his family. Like, he's not having it. You know what I mean?
I would have, I mean, honestly, I would have loved if they would have filmed more with Michael Shannon and Russell Crowe to like add into something later. Just because I think I would have loved to see them more dynamic as a friends.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like even if you were still a scientist, you probably have some other interests in taking care of yourself, you know? I mean, is this Krypton doesn't seem like the golden age version of Krypton where it's a world of supermen
Oh yeah,
who already have powers, you know? This is a world that, you know, the solar radiation in the atmosphere play a factor in how their abilities develop.
Ow.
Where'd he stab him?
I absolutely love the no cell too.
I just love the look Michael Shannon's like. You believe it in his eyes. I'm so surprised he didn't like kill Lara.
I think he didn't because I think this is one of those times where you see him lose control. And I always took his expression with Jor-El after Jor-El fell as more of a like, I can't believe I just did that.
Yes, I would, Romello. I would watch a Superman movie that's 3 or 4 hours. Okay, one, I've watched the 3-hour cut of Superman the movie. But if it's well paced and well done, yes. Like Peter Jackson's Superman. Because we all know Peter Jackson can't make a movie under 3 hours.
I'd watch a Peter Jackson Superman. He's shot some beautiful movies. King Kong is actually a really good movie.
It's so
And
underrated.
It looks really, really good.
Are you ready for a Peter Jackson movie where Metropolis is in New Zealand though?
I mean, we had
I mean-
Metropolis in Australia last movie.
Yeah.
And Superman Returns. So it could be Superman travels to New Zealand for all I care. He's on assignment from the Daily Planet. Look at those
His
eyes.
failed coup.
If I would have Metropolis, I would have Metropolis probably like Cleveland.
You mean like it's going to be? See, I always wanted to put Metropolis, like film some like shots in Dubai or something, because that one tower in Dubai looks like what Lex Luthor would do. I like these black suits.
I love this scene. I love Michael Shannon's just so intense all the time in this movie.
So is Krypton about to blow?
Yeah. I love that. Jor-El was right.
I like how they do have Namek in the back though, and he's just huge. The guy looks like he's closer to 8 feet tall.
That is so like chillingly convincing. I will find him.
I just love how much he's like just snapped. You can tell something's broken.
All right, this is cool, but someone did not really think through the look of these. Okay.
I did the watch along with Snyder when he announced
Oh, I did.
Justice League,
Yeah.
and he was asked about this, and he said it was intentional. They were very aware what it looked like because there's a ton of imagery on Krypton of phalluses and women's parts,
Yes.
and they
I will-
talked about how it was because Krypton was so sexually repressed, it came out in other ways.
That makes sense. It makes total sense.
I get that totally, but you could have made it just a little bit more subtle.
It also does look kind of like a sarcophagus
Maybe
in
if
a
they had-
manner with the bodies inside.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea, but I think this is interestingly weird. Like they put them in a ship and then into the Phantom Zone in a ship.
I like how in this the Phantom Zone was also like extremely vague as to what it is. Like
Yes.
because they use it to send Clark's ship, you could look at it like a warped speed from Star Trek, where it's bending the universe, which they talk about later on.
It bends space.
But also you could bend space and then just not go anywhere and just leave people in it.
That's something I want to see.
And this is wild. Just the planet erupting.
Helix or Keylor.
So you think by the end of the movie next month, the robot number 4 they keep showing off in all the trailers is going to be Kelex? They're going to earn a name.
Maybe.
Is he gonna be, after he's destroyed, change into a flying little robot?
Maybe.
And be Kelex?
Maybe.
Possibly.
That's such an amazing, like, the music here. Let's not underscore I think this is one of Hans Zimmer's best scores.
Oh,
I feel
for
like-
sure. I love this soundtrack. I listen to it not
I
on
feel-
repeat, but whenever I want to listen to some movie score or classical music, this is.
I like that we didn't see like all of the people on Krypton like freaking out. Like we just experienced the loss with Lara. Like we didn't like show everyone in Krypton when things were happening.
Right. And it's very personal. And I did love the idea of the Phantom Drive, of him not flying, of an infant not flying through space for 3 years, but actually going through a wormhole in space and almost instantaneously arriving on Earth.
It would have been interesting if we saw like a blue sun, and
Kind of like a life pod.
and then we saw like
Yeah.
so like it went red sun, and then you see time is going past, is going through behind the blue sun, and
What-
then he comes to Earth again.
Let's see what he says. Mello says right here. My favorite version and shot of the planet Krypton blowing up is in Superman Returns. I do like that shot.
Yeah, that is a really great one when the red sun collapses.
Wouldn't it be interesting if you would have not told people like what movie you're going to watch, like how they do some of those blind testings, and you just started here, like you fade into the credits from the Warner Brothers, and you're just this, and you're not sure what the movie is. Like, how much more interesting do you think it would be, like, if you kind of had this and then showed more of the Krypton stuff later, or something like? This is a cool shot, the wave, and he's just right there. Already no shirt, no hat, nothing. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, there's General Zod.
I'm just pulling
There's
the
a
door
practical
right off.
effect too of him crushing the door.
What do you call it? I used to come out. We had this one house that we were renting, and the hot water tank was always like really high, and I'd come out because the house was cold, and it looked like steam was coming off of me, and I always pictured myself in that scene, come walking out of the bathroom like.
Right. And this is so cool. It's like, just go.
I love Clark in these early scenes because he's so like almost like smirking when he does this stuff.
Yeah.
This is probably the biggest thing he's ever done at this point.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
Like holding up the side of a burning oil rig.
And I like how they make sure to show it's not so much him not being strong enough, it's the rig
the
itself
metal, the
collapsing
rig
underneath of him.
collapsing. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can't like not that he doesn't know that he has the ability to fly or anything yet. So he's the pressure he's holding it up, but it's also pressing under his feet. He's losing that, and like this is just brilliant. Like just ways of like doing these shots. I mean, these shots are just so good. Like
There's a Batman Begins formula to this where it kind of bounces back and forth throughout the years. But I think the transitions are done better
I mean,
in this, in my opinion, and the way it's done visually for me.
you mean you got to look at Christopher Nolan was a producer on this.
Absolutely.
Just this one. He did not produce as we went into BVS and everything, but he was on this film. And you can't, like I said, you can't help but make the Batman Begins comparison.
Oh yeah, I had heard and seen, that this is like Superman Begins.
Yes. Why are all those kids standing around?
It's a small school. There's not much going on.
It's true.
But still, get back in your classroom.
Right. Like there's an old lady right there. Take the kids back. It should just be the
How long
teacher.
did it take? Yeah, how long did it take for Martha to get there? You'd be freaking out in a closet too if you could see all this, though.
Like these are just beautiful moments.
My wife incorporated a bit of Martha's speech here into our vows at our wedding.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
Good job, Levi.
So the tattoo I have on my stomach is my name in this Kryptonian language.
Oh,
Well,
that's
now you gotta
across
show
my
it, James.
stomach.
yeah. Where's that picture on social media, James? I mean, I got my wife's name tattooed on my arm in Kryptonian from like classic comic Kryptonian.
I'm trying to figure out what I want to get done in that Kryptonian.
Like these shots are just so beautiful. You're like, oh, this you forget almost for a second. Like, well, this is a Superman movie. Like these insert shots, like right here. Like, if I remember, I could be wrong, or I could be thinking of something else that Snyder shot like almost this entire movie himself. I could be wrong though. I know. Like Christopher Nolan used no second unit on Batman Begins. He did everything. And I want to say Snyder did something similar to this, but I can't remember. I could be wrong.
Well,
it's
I mean,
funny to me
he does most of his movies. Early on, maybe it could be different, but especially now, he does most of his movies.
Oh yeah, he is completely different now. He has no
or all of
control.
them. Yeah, he's got full.
I think it's funny that's the least jacked we see Henry Cavill as Superman. In
Yeah,
all his appearances is right there, and he's still in better shape than 99.9% of the population.
here comes one of my favorite shots right here. Okay, where is the bridge, guys? Where is the bridge?
Yeah, that does not look like a road with a bridge on it.
Okay, you do the math of how fast they could be traveling, how much distance, like, and how short this is till they go. Like, they'd have to like looking out the side windows. It'd have to be past those trees. I'm just saying, I'm being a douche right now, but
Hey, it's what people usually tend to pick out when they say this movie sucks.
ooh, he said the shot in the trailer with the dog is missing. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, this scene is great though. They actually flipped it. Like that's what I love about the bonus features of this. Like with Snyder talking about everything, how they actually like shot a school bus into the water.
Yeah. I like this though because it's like he's not panicking, but he definitely lives in a world where he's not Clark Kent in Smallville fighting meteor freaks. So what has he been doing that in this moment he's not afraid of going underwater? He knows he's going to be able to push this bus out and up the side of the hill full of children and full of water.
This is kind of like the Spider-Man 2 train scene, where it's like he does this, and everybody's kind of like, we don't talk about it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
You know, it's like that silent, like secret, like we don't talk about this. That's supposed to be Lana.
I do like how she's the only one who actually like looks at him at the back though.
I'd say he's like, what do you guys think? Like 12 right here?
Yeah, I'd say around there.
Around my age.
I kind of like how this is what the catalyst of the friendship between Pete Ross and Clark.
Here comes the controversy.
Well, growing up, Clark was always that weird kid who ran off and hid in closets.
Yeah.
And come on, look at what kind of worry do you have when people are going to be saying this about your kid?
It's just the idea of drawing attention. I love this shot. I don't know why, but like the right here, the swing, the coffee pot, and the jacket pull, like that. Like just the small shots like that just I feel is what really helps give this movie an identity.
Just wanted to help. I know you did. Right?
You know, the thing is, this speech is not too much different than some of the things that John Schneider would say on Smallville. Just he just got a lot more.
This moment right here.
With great power comes great responsibility. Come on, say it.
Look at Kevin Costner. There's no way he believes that maybe he should have let them.
And I think that's the point. Like he doesn't believe what he's saying. He's scared.
I've heard people have told me that John Kent would never say that. That's not John Kent. And they hate this movie, and that's bullshit because of it.
I'm just saying.
Like, did you not watch him? He does not believe that.
He's just talking to his son like he's scared. You know, like he's like, I don't know, maybe. It's like, how many times have we said something like that? Like, maybe. And we know we don't mean what we're saying.
I think this is like one of the best examples of like the audience needing spoon-fed the information. Like they needed him to like immediately after saying maybe be like, no.
I'll be right back, buddy. Are you cold? Are you cold?
A little bit, yeah.
Right. And the next thing he told him is literally just about protecting his secret and about how people would react to him. It was not anything other than that.
It's true.
Like, you're not mature enough. The world's not ready.
How did John get the metallurgist to not talk about discovering a new element?
Right.
You took it to a guy and he's like, I've never seen this before. This doesn't exist on this planet. Great. Can you keep that a secret, please?
Yeah.
Right. Like, well, you know what? Like, this is the only thing I found. Like, I couldn't find anything else. Like, I know
it looks carved and has an S on it.
Yeah. See John Snyder's Jonathan Kent protecting Clark the way Kevin Costner version does. Absolutely.
John Snyder's Jonathan tried to murder Lionel Luthor to protect Clark.
The thing that gets me is we have Jonathan in this movie sacrifice himself at a tornado, and in the first season of Smallville, Jonathan runs out in a tornado after that reporter to protect Clark's secret. He was willing to die and run into a tornado to protect his secret. But there's a problem in this.
We'll get to the tornado scene because I have one comment about it or two. But I love this. Like
I
this is
know
straight up.
everybody sees that he could have just shoot and nobody would have known. Everybody was watching. He
I watched
doesn't know
him.
how fast he is, at least to the naked eye. And is this Superman that fast yet to the naked eye?
I don't know. I watched 10 seasons of Smallville and I was like,
Exactly. 10 seasons of Smallville. People want to put their own what Superman is and what he should be instead of what this Superman is, who this one is, and who it becomes. He's so invulnerable.
this is one of my favorite scenes, guys. Like, just because of everything.
The special features of the actor talking about filming a scene where he gets to pick on Superman is hilarious too.
I love it.
Right.
Where he pushes him. What you
Me
need?
too.
What you need, buddy?
I also love that a guy that size thinks he can pick on a guy that size.
I also like, and then like we have the douchebag military guys, and then I like how he just takes it. That's what I love about it. He just takes it, and then like
All three of those guys, I'm pretty sure, were in Smallville. Guy who just pushed him and both military guys.
I think so too.
What does Chrissy sing?
Well, I know this
do
guy
here as
was,
well?
and the black guy, I'm pretty certain is the sheriff's deputy that got his arm burned in season 5.
Oh no! Look, he felt that. Superman shouldn't feel that. He shouldn't react to being hit in the back.
I'm just curious what Chrissy's seen Clark do at this point, where she's like, "Oh no, it's not worth it. You need to back off." Because like clearly, it doesn't so much look as like she's protecting Clark as she's protecting the other guy.
It's still funny as heck.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not that drunk.
Well, I wonder if he's like just a regular that comes in there all the time, you know, and he's been violent before.
Oh, I'm sure he drives logs. I'm sure it's a route that he takes on a weekly basis or whatever, monthly basis or something.
I do think that's an interesting cut right there. Like we just see him hitchhiking and then it goes right to this and he's there. This is like the one Snyder movie that I wonder if there's he's put out extended cuts for everything. Except this. Romello
Literally everything.
the two Canadian airmen actors was in Smallville 3-8 as Darius, who drug Lex, and Mike Dupud was in Smallville season 6-9 as Lex and Tessa's secretary at the mansion. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Like
Awesome.
there are so many people in this. It's like, hey, they were in Smallville.
I'm pretty sure the guy who splashed him too tried to shove him. I'm fairly certain he was in Smallville as well. And this guy, he played 2 different characters.
Yes, I can never pronounce his name. Like he was also in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, isn't it very French? It's Canadian.
Yeah, like it's I cannot pronounce it, so I just say that guy. I love this. I love Christopher Maloney.
He's just snubbed
I'm also
her.
in the middle of a West Wing rewatch, so
Oh, nice. I have
seeing,
often,
Emil Hamilton here.
Yeah.
I've often said if I was planning a universe out with this movie, I would have made Colonel Hardy here Henshaw. He would have been Colonel Henshaw.
And the talent in this movie. Just all the actors right here together. And then we got Emil Hamilton with Emil Hamilton.
I know, passing the torch.
Yep.
What if he had to look at him at one point like that's not how Emil would act. Like Emil would do it this way.
No, he had to look at him bitter. Like I was literally playing Emil Hamilton a year ago.
Right?
That's so cool about the ice around it.
Yeah, being 18,000 years old.
This is her best. Lois is in this movie. Like they diminish her with each film.
Yeah.
And I like right there is the shot where you know it's Henry, and you might have missed it earlier when he was in the background that it was him.
I know I missed it earlier seeing it in theaters.
Oh, when she gets off the helicopter, he's the one who helps her down, and she says, "Be careful with those; they're heavy." And he gives her a look, like,
Right.
okay,
But
they're
I'm
heavy,
saying,
okay."
You could have easily missed it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you can, yeah.
And then
I know
they-
I did because I was so focused on, oh, here's Lois.
exactly. I think that was the point. And then you realize, oh, he's there. Like,
No, I actually saw it right away.
of course you did.
Yeah, I did. The first time I saw it in theaters, I saw it right away.
Okay, James.
Oh my gosh, my wife reads my mind. She's the
It's
best
my
wife in the
favorite
world.
Superman movie, and it has been since the first time you've seen it.
Guys, you can't see this. This is my child blanket. Look, I'll try to. This is what you're talking about the other day, Levi. This is my kid's comforter that I bought from Man of Steel.
Awesome.
One side is Henry.
You definitely cuddled the Henry side, right?
Yep. And the other side is the symbol. Yeah. I put this in the dryer. I was like, oh man, hopefully it'll be dry by the time we watch the movie. My wife's the best. I hope she can hear me. I think that's
I have
sweet.
a Superman blanket right here too.
Oh,
I love
see,
how the ice he's
like
carved
it.
through has like the rings.
he said he
the
played.
messenger rings.
He played that guy that I can't pronounce his name. Played Jed Eubanks with Smallville 315 as Vincent Davis in Smallville, 619 and 621 as Wes Keenan. Yeah. Man,
Yep.
Ramella's on it.
Project
Yeah, but here
Ares,
doing
and
the
he was
research.
the brother with the liver disease who came back to life just to die again.
Hey, you know one thing that okay, we've talked about this a little bit, like right there we had the heat vision the first time the heat vision was revealed. Okay. There has been no use or marketing of any heat vision for the new Superman.
No.
Only
Yeah,
if
it'll be
you don't
interesting to see how they
the
do it.
McFarlane toy.
The McFarlane and the Fortnite ad
I
had it,
did
but,
love. Did they? I did see that Fortnite ad just earlier today.
I love this. Like I wanted to get this as a necklace.
I have the Noble Collection command
Do
key
you?
and the
I
command
wanted
key
one.
keychain. It is one
wanted
of my most prized possessions.
I like how
And-
he has the instinctive knowledge, like, oh, I think it goes here. And I like how this hurt him.
Yeah, he's never been hurt like that before. Like actually cut him open to make him move.
He's like, dang, what the? I've been freaked out too. Like, what the heck is this?
And then who is that?
I love the ghost Jarrell here of just like randomly disappearing and
Yeah.
reappearing. In
I
different
love the
spots.
use of heat vision in this movie, the different intensities. Like, there's nothing except for his eyes glowing, but he walked slowly, made his way through that.
I mean, it's not a bad. Like, it's not bad. Like, this is the idea of the fortress, like being a ship like this. Oh, look at those shapes. I won't say what they are, but we know what they are, fellas.
Yes, we do know what they
The
are.
three of us, we know what that is referencing. My son still doesn't.
Come here, Solomon.
It's okay, buddy. You're 10. You're pretty much will be learning soon.
You'll learn
keep
very
up.
soon.
But it's very bioorganic, and it slightly like reminds me of some of the production design stuff from like the Alien franchise. And like the Kryptonian suits, like that Zod and them wore, look a little bit like the engineers, like from the early Alien film before Prometheus.
There's
A little
Predator.
Giger-esque.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like in the design here, there's a little, like I said, it's a little Matrix-y. It's a little
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, yeah, Giger's was very, very erotic, very phallic and genital.
I like how he just grabs it. It's like, that's right. I'm gonna take this. down.
But then just smashes it with his bare hands.
Okay, look, I'm just gonna say this. As a straight man, if I was hurt, then all of a sudden I look up and that dude's like, it's okay. I'm like, I believe you.
I'm telling. I was texting my best friend the other day. We were sending some memes back and forth, and the one I sent him was, "If you're not a little gay for Henry Cavill, then I don't trust you."
I mean, it's probably true, but still.
I like to in this scene believe that he not only used his heat vision, but he like used his heat vision and his microvision to focus and seal up everything, not just the outer layer of skin, but like any of the tissue inside.
Well, yeah, he had to cauterize the wound down to where it was bleeding internally.
Right there. Romella's on it
Was in
again.
Smallville. Yep.
519. Man,
Awesome. Thank you.
you can make this
Doing
like a game of like how many people who like a scorecard of who all from Smallville is in this. Because I mean, the big ones
You
I
could
got
make
is
a
of course,
drinking game. You could make a drinking game out of this and get pretty wasted.
the big ones I got out of this was Emil Hamilton, Mackenzie, who's the Lex clone, and then Dan Turpin later.
The shot is so great.
You know,
Well, we've
those
got 4 so far. Let's keep track. We've got
Yeah.
4 so far.
no, we have 5.
5?
Lois Lane.
Oh yeah. Well,
No.
Amy Adams,
in
the fat
Smallville.
sucking vampire. This
we gotta remember-
this
we're at
might be
5.
the one thing here is like she's kind of just out there. That's pretty dangerous. But
Yeah.
Was he supposed to leave her in the crater you just made?
I guess.
Well, no, I mean, she's in the ship when it flew off. He had to leave her somewhere, but like,
I like this transition though of her like reporting her story. Oh, there's Perry White.
Yay!
If you guys don't know,
Friend.
we have a new Perry White actor here in the house right now. Right here, over here, Solomon has been cast as Perry White in my musical play that I'm putting on. So, youngest editor of the Daily Planet.
I do just love.
Gotta
the
put that on your
sound of
resume.
the first line. You might have hallucinated half of it.
No, yeah, where is Jimmy?
There is no Jimmy in this movie, but we kind of get his sister, who's kind of been started to become like hasn't come into comics yet. Okay, here's number 6. Didn't this guy who plays Woodward, wasn't he in Smallville too? Right there. Am I wrong? But wasn't he in Smallville?
not that I recall.
I could be wrong, but I thought he was.
I don't know, we're talking like 200 plus episodes.
Oh, we don't have it
Yeah,
memorized,
it is
guys?
over 200 episodes. I don't believe so, but
Oh, there's John. There's John Peters, polar bear. He
Every
finally
time
got
I
his
see a polar bear with Superman, that's like.
and that's
Yeah,
what I
polar bears guarding
expected
the
for a
fortress.
long time was the fortress going to be like in the Arctic like that.
All systems operational.
See, I like to believe that right here, because he inserted his family key into and Jarrell went ahead and used these
Oh, that's exactly what happened.
the programs to create the suits to make him his family suit. That's why his family suit's already on the ship. Is because
Oh, right. That makes sense.
that is my personal like headcanon for it.
Yay!
Yeah,
'Cause it-
that makes total sense.
It makes the most sense, you know.
Well, especially with the DCEU, if you think that there was a Kara Zor-El out there, that it wasn't the ancestor or something like that from the prequel comic of this movie.
I like this scene, like, you know, he's like, that's my name.
This scene setting the trend for DC movies having the history lessons as well.
Okay, so I like this scene. I like the way it's done,
I love the topography of Krypton.
and then like kind of explaining it to his son. My wife is the best. I'm gonna say it again. There we go. Romella's on it again. See, I knew it. Chad Krochuk, who played Glenn Woodburn, was in Smallville 41.
Forever is Wendell.
Okay, are we at 6 now, guys? We're at 6.
That is, that's
Okay,
it.
I need to keep track of. James, write this down. We're at 6.
I got you. All right, I'm putting it in a memo.
Good. I like this imagery because this was the same type of like statue imagery that Snyder would pull later when they were doing those like little things for the Justice League. You guys remember those when they were going to release it kind of as like part of an intro or something for a show. And you know, it was interesting. Like we've talked about this before, that even in comics and everything, there's never been a set Zod symbol. There's been some, but they've always kind of changed a little bit. Like comics has done it differently. Shows have done it differently. I remember when people were talking about how Zod's symbol looks like the Omega symbol turned sideways. It is an
So
interesting.
good.
It is a. I like that. Like you're the embodiment of that hope.
Hey, Dad,
Yeah, buddy.
what if aliens entered Krypton?
That would be cool. Kryptonians for Xenomorphs. I'd see that. Couldn't count.
Who do you think won?
This reminds me of like the Jedi's.
I
We're
do
like-
also love this choice Jarrell and Laura made, because normally in the Superman stuff, it's always, oh, we only had time to build a small ship, so we couldn't come with you. Whereas here they're acknowledging, like, no, we're as much of the reason Krypton failed as everyone else.
This is sweet. I really do wonder in a lot of ways what a direct sequel of this would have been like without going to BBS. See, I love that. I like his symbol, like being the blue with like the black.
Do you
symbol.
count that as a shirt rip?
Ooh, ooh. Tom, what do you think? Is that a shirt rip?
Yeah.
Someone says yes. I love this transition. He looks at the suit, and then we get this. And not only does he have the suit on, he's also shaved.
And that's the best of the coloring of the suit that you can see in the whole movie.
No, I would say here and then some in the battle in Smallville, because they shot a lot of that outside. There's a lot of
Yeah.
natural lighting in that scene. Like this is just beautiful to look at. Like this shot here.
Yeah, the cape waving looks so good. They make it look perfect.
Call it what it is. Call it what they
Yep.
called it.
Pouring.
Solomon, cover your ears.
He's like, what? You don't have his headphones on. It's okay, buddy. You can put them on now.
Keep
We'll just call it CP. This is awesome. See, I love just the idea of like the evolution here, the subtle like able to leap, you know. And it's an awesome way of doing a montage of like, you know, because you have Jarrell's voiceover and him trying and him leaping. He never. Yes, yes.
The forehead vein.
Romelo says,
trying to
This is-
concentrate so hard.
he says, this is
I
my
agree,
favorite
Romello.
version of Superman's suit. You know, at first, like when they did this second, like the BVS style, I was like, oh, I like it so much. But then, like through time, I was like, no, I actually prefer the Man of Steel. But I do wish it was a little bit more colored, like the BVS suit. But I
Yeah.
do like this suit better.
I do, and I do like the symbol, but I prefer the symbol in this over the symbol in BBS. But I do like the coloring better, and they used this, I believe,
I just
right?
want to throw this out there.
in Black Adam,
They did, yeah.
but it was much more, but it was a lot brighter.
Well, because that's the cinematography coloring, you know.
Yeah,
I'm just going to tell you guys, I edited it just for fun. This scene right here, just to make my wife giggle. I edited this scene and I took out the music and put in Defying Gravity from Wicked, just to make my wife giggle.
yeah.
And it
You
worked.
sent that to me, and I laughed hysterically, and I had to show Jamie.
It works so well. My wife watched
No,
it and then watched it again and just made her smile.
Back
If I can make
in-
my wife smile, then that mission accomplished.
right back in 2015, this was the music that I posed to in my posing routine for my bodybuilding show.
Oh yeah, nice. That's why you are the Man of Steel, James.
Bodybuilding show. You got a tattoo on your stomach, James, that we still haven't seen.
I got
I
a
know.
tattoo on my chest too.
I've seen that one.
It's puzzle pieces put together into the Superman.
I've seen that one. You showed me that one. But like right there, like the smiling, like this behind this right here shot is.
Hold up. I thought Superman didn't smile in this movie.
Oh yeah, I know. It's yeah, he doesn't. That wasn't a smile. That was his his face was cracking from the wind.
The first flight is so great.
And then back to Lois. I think this helps like establish that Lois is very intelligent. Like, with just her reporting skills, like it really helps. And that was something I really did like about this film was like, they're like, okay, we're gonna do something different and go ahead and get rid of the Lois not knowing, Yeah, he works at the IHOP. How do you guys feel about product placement? Like, he's at IHOP. We see Sears and stuff. Like, do we?
It was in the attempt to make this movie feel more grounded in a world in your world.
Yeah,
And
is
they
what the
definitely-
attempt was.
They handle it better than the CW shows did.
because to me, like, she works at Sears. I just noticed that. I didn't.
You
catch that.
remember
I didn't catch that
the
last time.
Windows Surface tablets in those like 2 seasons of Arrow and Flash,
I think so.
where every episode they had like some sort of like, oh, let me look that up for you, and they'd pull out the tablet and snap it into the keyboard.
Yeah, I do remember that now.
Yeah, I do like how he does jump in the beginning. I think that in each jump, I think that he feels more and more weightless, you
Yes.
know? And I think it's just a feeling that he has that he gets into that flight, and then that's when he loses it.
There's something a little diabolical about showing up at his father's grave.
Mm. Here we go, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I do find it interesting that they just like they went with Henry here.
They had to because of the end of the scene. Because you
Yeah.
want the main actor's reaction, but also Henry Cavill doesn't pass for an 18-year-old.
No. Could have been a line like he's home from college or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is how you come to me after being gone at school, like come here yelling, like,
Right. I don't think they mention anything as to how old he is here. But the other kid certainly doesn't.
oh, Dylan Sprayberry.
Yeah,
later-
he
who would
doesn't
later
pass for 18, but neither does Henry, just the other way.
I was about to say Dylan Sprayberry, who would later go on to be on Teen Wolf with the soon-to-be Superman, Tyler Hoechlin. See, in a perfect Superman film, he would have ran to the hurricane and just started spinning backwards. And
Well,
made-
he could
made the
have
tornado.
undone time at that point. You got to
Yeah.
be careful.
he would have just, he would have ran into it, spun backwards, and met its,
Well, no, he would have alternated between his heat vision and his ice breath
This is,
to balance out the
Malone.
tornado, and it would just dissipate.
Pronounce that right. But this is his next comment. I think the tornado scene with 1997 Clark should have been the last
flashback. I can see that. Okay. I just have a little bit of a problem that he runs to do this to save the dog. Okay? Like, not that I hate animals, but I'm just like, I buy into
Honestly,
like, if it was
that's a personal thing, man.
I know. Like, if it had been a baby or something like that, like,
What I'm hearing here is you hate dogs.
I have 3 of them.
He's
man.
like, I would have left my dog in the car in the path of an oncoming tornado.
No, because I would have had to go get the dog because Solomon, Selah, and Jania wouldn't let me leave it. So I'd be the one. My name is Jonathan. Did I ever tell you guys about the time I got caught in a tornado at work? Okay, so I was at work and I was driving the car and the sirens were going off for the tornado and I could see the wind and everything. And I'm in this light car. I have nowhere to.
He can go get him.
I have nowhere to go, and I send Jania that meme.
Oh, did you?
I'm like trying to tell her like what's happening, and I sent her that meme. Yes, she was pissed. But I mean, I understand the impact of this scene. Like, it wasn't time after, and it was like he didn't want his son to reveal himself. He sacrificed himself to protect his son. Like,
And I think also his first line there, I trusted him.
yes,
It was his decision. And I trusted him that this is what he wanted.
And he asks somebody who literally found out, "What do you think?" And the next scene, she's like, "It's smoke."
hey, there's Lombard, which I like this actor, but he to me is not the best Lombard.
Whoever said watch out, Lois, I think it's Max.
See, I think
that's Lombard.
Oh,
his
this
Lombard's good for this, though.
Yeah,
Because
it is.
He's still a kind of a. It's not pervy, but he's still office creep enough.
Yeah,
They give him a little bit of that later.
I like how he's like. I like how Lawrence Fishburne here as Perry can deliver lines that we know he says something, but he's kind of means something different.
I like that. He pushes her in that moment because of this.
I think, Romello, with your comment right here about people's problem with Jonathan not wanting people's problem. I think it just goes back to people not wanting to accept anything other than what they believe is the status quo.
Right.
Like,
Well, the impact of Jonathan dying in the movie, him having a heart attack and things like that, is stuff he can't do, stuff he can't save.
And this is a little bit harder because it is something. There's the LexCorp truck. This is a little bit harder because this would be something he could have done, but his father, he said he trusted him.
Yeah, I think it's effective.
Hold up. Wait,
I think
we
it's
got him
100%
smiling again.
effective, and I think it's subjective if people like it or not.
Yeah,
But the validity of it not being effective is just not valid.
I like how he already calls her a friend. See, I just love this is all natural lighting. You know what I'm saying? Like it really looks beautiful and does a difference here. And I like how they got Diane Lane and someone that it's very easy to make her look younger or make her look older. So they don't have to try to make her look real old. Just simple little things help make her look older, and then simple little things help her make her look younger.
Yeah, she's a great actress. I've watched many things with her over the years. I haven't seen her entire filmography, but I always love it when she shows up, or when she's the lead or whatever.
You're fine, buddy.
I like that when he says they take you away, or that people would find out, and she said no, just
I like his
worrying about you. She delivers a mother's line.
I mean, you believe the parents. Okay, my personal headcanon, guys. There is no justification for this except for my personal headcanon. He is not Martian Manhunter right here. Okay? My personal headcanon is that after the events at BVS, he was part of a space program and trying to find other aliens life, and that's when they pulled the Martian down, and he was killed by a white Martian, and then John Jones assumed his role as him. That's my personal headcanon. It's a little short film that I wrote because
Or he was maybe the first one who, or maybe he was the only one left alive when the Martian showed up, and
Yeah.
he had died of a heart attack, or he's the first person that John saw or something.
exactly. See, there's Jenny Olsen, who has now been kind of canonized as Jimmy's sister.
You know, I think Martian Manhunter there must be the metallurgist we talked about earlier.
That alert on the printer was from the Adventures
Ah,
of Superman from George Reeves.
nice.
George Reeves. Yeah. And I missed it too. There's other Easter eggs. There's artists and writers' names, like on pictures and things like that. There's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie. I love the
Yeah,
use
I
of
like
the
that.
graphic
Yes.
vision.
Yep. So we know he has more than the just heat vision. I think this scene is so cool and so creepy at the same time.
The lights go out, but the TVs are still.
This scene always reminds me of Earth One graphic novel when the villain at the end is like, "We would have contacted you guys sooner, but you still use 200 different languages, and we had to figure out how to talk in all of them."
Yeah. I do like that. I need to reread that. I like that.
If you read that today after finishing this, and they came out within like a year of each other,
Yeah.
and if there was not some communication at DC to kind of make them sync up a bit, I'd be impressed because they're very similar.
See, I just
I'm pretty sure you can go listen to J. Michael Straczynski talk on what's that podcast? The Comic Central. Is that what it is? He talks about Superman Earth One over there, and it's been a long time since I listened to it, so I can't remember what he said, but I do know that they talked about the similarities of Earth One and Man of Steel at the time, coming out at the same time.
I
I
really
love
like
Zod coming through the static.
I like the what do you call it? Just all them broadcasting all the different languages.
And he
even
says
it-
things that only Clark would know right now. He wouldn't have even known this, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about like Earth One, isn't it? In Volume 3 is when Zod shows up,
Yeah,
like, and how he does it, like where he comes in kind of benevolent to help.
he comes in like a uncle almost, is how I
Yeah.
would describe it. And then it turns out he was responsible for Krypton's destruction. Spoilers, sorry. It's been out for years.
You are not alone. Romello says, I honestly like Zod and the Static in the Flash movie. Yeah, we will be watching the Flash movie next year.
They did a better job of making it look like he was 3D in there. In this, he looks like he's behind a lot of static.
She just got outed right there. The Daily Planet's Lois Lane. Boom. I like, how many people like in shows and stuff like, hey, turn on the TV. Or like, are you watching this? Like, no. Like, they'd call me like, what are you watching? Cartoons?
Right?
Like something happy? Like, you should turn on the news.
I aspire to have the level of sass that Lawrence Fishburne does in his voice throughout this entire movie. Like,
Hmm.
it is constantly just below the surface.
I don't know if I could. I'm not cool enough.
Oh, I think his parry is pretty great. One of the best.
I like his parry in this, and I don't. There's things I don't like. I don't like his parry's interaction with Clark and then MBBS.
I think if we got a true sequel, his parry would have been up there.
I love the look he gives her.
And I would have liked if it's a different version that Perry knew he was Superman, and that's why he like picked on Clark a little bit. Was to kind of do the opposite, where to make Clark think that he doesn't know.
In this scene, we got a Smallville call to the Sullivans.
Yep. And isn't that the Fordman boy? Isn't that supposed to be like Whitney?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I like that he's reading Plato. Like, I just like the idea that Clark's educating himself into more advanced things.
I think that goes the last time we had a conversation, we were talking about how everyone forgets that technically Clark is a genius.
Yes, we did. Or we did talk about that. See, I kind of almost wish
they make mention of in like Smallville, like you never lose anything from that steel trap, or you never study but you get straight A's, kind of a thing they call out in like the first season.
I am with Romello, like that the tornado scene maybe should have been the last flashback. Maybe I don't know where, but this one could have come earlier. Like, because I kind of like the idea of this scene coming after the scene where he found out where he's from, because I think it helps the idea of like him and Pete slowly becoming friends.
I think you could have put this after the trucker scene or during the trucker scene.
Ooh, that's cool. Like, it would have worked, I think, just as well too.
Yeah, not beating up a bully.
Yeah, because
you certainly want the extra positive speech though after anything that he said post rescue.
I like this interaction.
Good or bad, you're going to change the world.
This is very For Tomorrow too, from the comics.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I like that. I'm the one they're looking for.
Are you crazy, or are you actually an alien?
I like the framing, the shadows.
This is and I know James is going to get mad of me criticizing Snyder here. The background's a little heavy-handed.
Oh no, I agree, because I talked about that in our what we don't want to see episode that's coming up for the new movie.
Yeah,
I really want them to tone down the Christ-like imagery. I think they've overdone that.
Oh yeah, I'm very vocal that he's not a Christ analog. I don't care if he died and was resurrected. That's not what he is. That's not what he was created to be. He's not a Messiah.
Well, I think I'm totally okay in certain situations if they want to go with that, but having that scene take place in a church with a Catholic priest, the imagery is already there. We didn't need the stained glass behind.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, he puts it in here, and it's like literally the least favorite part of the movie for me.
But I mean, let's get another. We'll go one more level deeper. That stained glass is supposed to be Jesus praying in the Garden of Gethsemane before giving himself up to be crucified. So that image is reflecting back to what he's about to do, giving himself up, turning himself over.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, it's
imagery here.
It's very heavy.
It's intentional. It's
intentional. That's like we were talking about earlier, that sometimes this movie didn't do a great job of spoon feeding it to the audience, but I think that's because the whole meal went in that scene.
But the majority of people, even whatever, they're still not going to see that and know what that is.
Yeah.
I
love how boyish he looks in this movie.
Like the reaction, the line that the priest gives him, though.
I like the on this.
I think it gave him the the feeling back that, like it's still, I have faith and I have hope in people, and that's why he gave himself up to the people of Earth.
Yeah. What I love, something I really do love in this movie, is there is no kryptonite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is direct with these guys, and I love it. Because he straight up says, I can see your people in the other room, I can see the stuff in your pocket. And I love that he's not just like that, he has to squint and focus. He can just see it if he
I love
wants
how
to.
he's just done screwing around here too. Just stands up and just snaps the cuffs.
Yep, walks
Like,
right
all
up
right, we
to,
played the
and
game.
walks right up to him. He can't see him, but he looks right at him
Yeah, I like
because he is seeing him.
exactly. It's a two-way mirror where he can see through the.
And I do like Henry Lennox has talked about how Snyder told him, like, don't cower in this scene. Like, you need to step up too.
Yeah,
that
like
was in a-
everybody else stepped back because
don't-
he stepped up and broke the cuffs with nothing.
I don't like that that edit right there. Like I feel like it was abrupt. We're all of a sudden they're right here. It almost reminds me a little bit of like an ode to the Watchmen scene of Silk Spectre and Night Owl.
Yeah.
I love the music. My 3 alarms right now to wake up to is whatever happened or what are you gonna do when you're not saving the world, which I've had for like 12 years now. Then my second alarm, if I don't wake up to that, is the guitar intro for the new Superman movie. And then the last one I don't wake up to is the title card music of Superman and Lois.
I love the simplicity of these shots coming up here too. Like just these big wide screens of desert, and like the background's complicated with the military and all that, but when it flips around to the Kryptonian ship, it's just that open plain
Yes.
with
I
Clark standing there.
I love the red cape, the way it looks right here.
Yeah. The way the suit looks, it's designed to be reminiscent of a second skin, so it's supposed to
Well, what looks great right here.
reflect what he looks like underneath, and that's why it looks like he's so, why the suit looks the way it does, but it doesn't look overly done, like overdone, over padded or anything. It looks
But like the way the cape falls, if you look at it, it doesn't fall to where it covers his whole back and shoulders. It falls right down so that his arms pop out
Yeah.
from the side of the cape.
Mm-hmm. The scene there when he's just standing waiting, he looks huge.
This movie, like for me, like you could rip that out and put it in a comic book. And Henry Cavill is just one of those rare people that looks like Superman without
Yeah.
really trying. Like
Yes.
he is.
Their masks and their rebreathers look better in this though, as opposed to in the Flash. Like I like the way
Yeah.
that they did the static in the Flash, but I feel like that the rebreathers and the helmets look too fake.
Was this shot? I can't remember. Was this shot on film or digital?
Film.
See, that's what I thought it was.
I think it might be the only one he did shoot, the only one that, or the last one he shot on film.
I think
Everything
so.
else-
I think so too. Because once
It's either the only or the last. I forget.
it feels like it because, like I said, he did a different approach with this one, and like I said, a different DP and everything.
Yeah, I always forget the first name. I know the last name's Maury.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know why.
The cape in this, I know 90% of the time it's not a real cape, but like
Maneuverability of those ships.
walking up the steps on that, the cape looks so good.
See, now I like this. I like that he's got the blue and the red, and just everything else is dark. And I like that he trusts Lois right here to give her that, because it really is a good Lois and Clark / Superman bonding type movie. That's sweet. I do think it's interesting that Zod wanted Lois.
I love
Yes,
the ship design, because it's one of those sci-fi movies. You know, we keep calling it a sci-fi movie that like understands space stuff doesn't need to be aerodynamic.
Yes.
It can just be a thing.
I like the lighting right here.
I like the way that they've used focus in this to show how he's weakening.
Projecting our ship's atmospherics. Spend a lifetime adapting to Earth's technology. We're adapting to ours.
Yeah, no joke, because you didn't exist. Yours didn't
Almost how
exist.
callous they are too.
I know.
Yeah, whatever's happening, like fuck you. You're gonna deal with it.
See, what they say is he has to suffer through it to match us,
Yes.
but we won't suffer through it to live with you. That's what they're doing. It's one versus the other.
But it also shows a little bit of like how he holds Krypton higher. Because I'm sorry, like if I was Kryptonian, right, and I was Zod, and I came to a planet and I realized I would have powers, boo, I ain't changing that planet to make it into Krypton. I am gonna live with powers.
But Zod thinks Krypton's perfect. So
I know that. I know. See, I like. It's interesting. Like they're kind of in Cal's mind and where how Cal sees himself.
We're adrift. Destined to float amongst the ruins of our planet where we start. We managed to retrofit the phantom projector into a hyperdrive. The father made a similar modification.
Their suits just look cool.
see, this is where I think the caste system is more about being chosen for a role as opposed to being bred for it, because retrofitting a phantom drive seems like something more the Science Guild would do as opposed to a bunch of soldiers.
True.
Looking for signs of life.
Right. Well, in society, people tend to know many things across the spectrum. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. There are like extreme caste systems, like in Absolute Superman, where the higher ups, they're very strict and the line is delineated, when they do
This is so interesting.
but like the lower class, the laborers seem to know more because they experience more.
Your father stole the registry's codex and stored it in the capsule that brought you here. For what purpose? So that Krypton can live again. On Earth.
I like here how he kind of twists
Yes.
being here as a rebirth for Krypton.
Now look, everybody. Remember how everyone lost their mind about Superman in the black suit for Justice League? Oh snap! He's in the black suit right here. But everybody forgot he was in the black suit right here.
I like this black suit more too.
Well, this is actually a suit, I think. I don't.
Well, no, I mean even just the design, how it's even the
Kind of
symbol is
black.
black and
Yeah. It's also like the black suit. It's the Black Man of Steel suit compared to like.
The black and silver. But in this, the black on black is more reminiscent of the decayed and destroying society that destroyed itself.
Yeah.
Whereas in Justice League, it's more of the silver. It's the rebirth.
Yeah, I like the way he looks here in the lighting, like the color on his suit and everything. Like,
Also,
And all that lighting on his suit is fake because it's not there. It looks
going
amazing.
into our pre-show talk, I did have the Hot Topic black Superman symbol shirt as well and wore that one to death too.
Nice.
I just, like I think also in that scene, like him in all black represents him assimilating to Zod's Krypton.
Yeah.
Where, because we even saw that his father had a blue suit with a black S. So we never got into what the color schemes might be. But yeah, they just basically are. He's becoming just like them.
I think it's assimilating into Zod's Krypton. I think it's with all the skulls, a bit of Angel of Death, too.
Yep.
That guy right there, they faded off with him. We'll see him again. He's in Smallville. There he is.
Right there. Yeah, it's Dan Turpin. So that's
Yep.
that's number 8 because we got a background shot of Mackenzie Grace right there. Yes.
There's yep.
There's number 8. We'll just call it right there.
Yep. So we're at 8.
This would hurt. I like the idea like that right there is like the second time or like third time he's felt pain. The first time was when he got attacked by
And
the
there's Samantha
Wynn. Was it
Samantha
Wu or
Wynn?
what? Yeah.
Can't remember which one offhand right now. She has been working with Snyder for years. She is awesome. She is amazing. She starred in his
Short film.
what is his short film that he
Yeah.
shot entirely on an iPhone that looks amazing. Like you can't tell me that it's just the visual effects people.
Yeah.
He did
yeah.
he did that himself with an iPhone.
He's a
I also-
talented.
I also think it speaks because you get a lot of people, attacking Snyder for various things. But the one thing everyone who works with that guy says they would do anything to work with him again. Like he is
Yeah, he seems like a
insanely
good,
popular in the industry.
he seems like a good dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think one thing about Snyder too is he comes from a directing background, but he also is a trained he trained in cinematography. So I think that really helps him with his scope and his visualization, even because him and Larry Fong, who he uses a lot on his films, they were in college together.
Yeah.
So their history goes back a long time.
Yeah, one of the things he talked about while being the DP on Army of the Dead was the style lenses they use, the classic lenses that they use. He talked about taking them in and getting the dust and things on them tested, like all kinds of stuff. Like he is a junkie for cinematography, for cameras.
So I love this. How he just right here, the way his face changes when he's like, yeah, it's about to go down. Time to go make some pancakes. What? Alien ships.
See this between with Henry here in that last scene, and then some of the stuff he does in Witcher. When people say Henry can't act, he's really good when it comes to subtle stuff, though. He can
absolutely.
do subtle facial expressions with the best of them.
Watch him in Jack Sawyer. Yep, he's in there in Smallville. But watch him in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah,
That movie. He is so good in that movie.
Oh yeah, he's the best part of that movie.
that one, and then I think his acting's really good in his Mission Impossible movie. I think there's a reason that one's the highest grossing.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that one again because me and Solomon talked about rewatching them all.
Yeah, Fallout is really good. And him as the bad guy is so great.
I love the color. Like I said, the coloring right here on his suit. That's such a cool shot.
Right? It's
And the
so
cape.
vivid in moments.
Can we just say, here's a testament to his power right here? He's standing on the ship. Anyone else would have been
escaping vacuum.
Yeah, I'm about to say anyone else would have been sucked out. So he's firmly planted right there.
Russell Crowe's so good as Jor-El here.
I know.
The level of power that they reach so fast, that he reaches so fast
Okay,
in
I hate
this
this.
movie.
I hate this right here. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate the floating out and turning. Like, I would have liked it. Like, that's a cool shot right there, the turn. But I would have liked him just doing that right outside the ship, just going flying fast.
So I do have the thought for you guys. I want your opinion. What do you think of every time Henry Superman flies? He's got the fist out front. He never just flies.
I think it's a visual thing for maybe him. Like,
Well,
I have seen
later on in Metropolis, when he just lifts up off the ground.
True,
Yeah.
but I mean, like
And he
a lot of
doesn't
times
just
when he's in
leisurely.
flight.
The only time he does is when he's flying up. When he's flying up, he puts his hands down to his side.
All right, let's pay attention to him
Otherwise,
now.
otherwise he is pretty intentional on where his hands are placed and how he is banking when
I
he
love the
flies.
bank.
He's really intentional. I love the rigs that they used.
Yeah,
Yeah, how they had a helicopter like come in right there to help give the effects, like this right here. That's like looks great because they're actually in a cornfield, real corn. I know, because I can stare at it all the time out my front window.
and the gentleness with Lois.
See, like I said, this is one of those scenes right here in Smallville where they're filming outside in natural lighting that I love because it makes the suit look better.
This Smallville sequence is the best. Literally from the crash down, their interaction and him
Right.
realizing what's going on, and then from here on out.
I'd say from the Jor-El speech through the Smallville fight, this movie, I don't want to say peaks because I love everything after it too, but like it really hits its
Yeah.
stride.
Like this right here, there's no ship and they're not wearing any suits.
The behind the scenes of this scene are hilarious to see.
Yeah. Just him out there in the pajamas, being all menacing.
And I like right here how Feora like leaps.
I like to think she was just trying to get like a really good running start. Wasn't used to the sunlight.
The codex is not here.
Man, I feel bad for the truck.
How about the dog?
So- this is awesome right here. Like you said, he had his hands out right there. Okay, that's intense right there.
So good.
I love this. You think you can threaten my mother?
But can we just throw back real quick that all the other Kryptonians are still there? Poor 7-Eleven.
I like to think they're just standing there confused, like what the hell just happened?
They're like, should we follow General Zod? Like, let's go after him. Oh, look, his cape is burning. See, like right here, the
I
color.
feel like his cape is probably burning because it got fuel on it.
Yeah. See, I like how Zod's kind of taken out of this battle right here, because he's exposed to Earth's atmosphere, and it really helps set up that he doesn't battle Zod here. His battle with Zod is later. See, I think the suit looks great right here in this lighting.
Focus on just what I want. Without your help, you're getting everything.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. Ow. Man, that's my truck, says James as he's inside, eating pancakes.
So this is the best part of the entire movie, in my opinion. But every time I see something like a small battle on a strip or something, I always laugh at the guys. It always makes me think of the movie The Last Stand when Arnold came back to acting.
Oh, yeah.
And there's guys like because there's gonna be shooting on the strip, and he's like, He's like, I had heart surgery and I just ordered bacon, blah blah blah. You think I care if I do?
I like this. Him walking down the, just walking. He's like, get inside. Dude, I would keep running. I wouldn't just get inside. I'd be like inside driving, like peace.
Inside the front door, out the back door.
Out
Exactly.
of town. The fight with Zod later is great, but this one I think on film probably does the best job, like integrating Superman's powers with like the physicality, and so much of it's practical that they do.
I like how here you look like they have target, like there's could be like right there, faster than a speeding bullet. It's a
And
subtle
he got
way of
hit
doing that.
though. That's why he hit the building. He got hit by one of those massive guns. You know how big those guns are on those warthogs? Those guns are 19 feet long.
Yeah,
Those things are huge.
that plane they built a plane around a gun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. Yeah, that's what those planes are.
And here goes your Namek right here.
I love this. It's so ridiculous.
And that guy is dead. Look at that. He just blew
Pops his
him
head.
up with his bare hands.
Pop like a blueberry.
Like the poor property damage to this town. Like that's a cool shot right there.
And that guy is rescued right there.
Yep, and there goes the IHOP. See, this is where I would like to cameo in this movie. Just be like me and James over there at the table eating some pancakes. Like, dang.
This little scene is great, but I love the slap at the end.
Yeah.
You're weak, son of hell.
Just toying with him.
He's never had to actually fight before. He probably never learned to actually fight. Like,
Yeah. He's never had to fight, and he's never had to use his powers outside of saving people from Earth physics, which to him are not incredibly. But he's experiencing new stuff right now. This is to a level he's never experienced.
there's the bank vault.
I've watched the Man of Steel special features like on repeat for 12 years now. And I love the one on like the physicality they talk about, because they talk about Clark fights like a boxer who only throws knockout punches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like instead of fighting, he's just like, let's get it over with kind of thing.
Yeah, all he knows how to do is throw haymakers.
He brawls, he throws haymakers. And he's fighting against people in military training. This where Feora slaps him into the ground. It just makes me laugh every time.
I just like the idea, like they shot at them with those huge guns, but I have my rifle on my arm, and it's going to make a difference.
I love the practical effects here for this. When you watch the behind the scenes, how they filmed like this
Yeah.
specific part, so good.
Yeah, the battle between the three of them. Yeah, it's really good.
This is sweet right here.
Yeah. This is that first level of like intensity
Yeah.
that we get to see.
Engage the target.
Engage all targets, and it hits him right here in the head. See, Superman's never taken a bullet that big straight to the face before, but all it did was rock his head. After this, it
Oh,
wouldn't.
look! Superman doesn't save anybody in this movie.
Like I said, I love the behind the scenes, and you see Henry talking to Snyder about like how he should react to getting shot, and you see Snyder just like boop him on the forehead.
Yeah.
It's like this, bop.
I like how he saves the guy. He's like, "Are you okay?" And the guy's like, "Oh, behind you."
You hallucinated that. He does not save anyone in this movie.
Oh,
But honestly, to this point, how many times has he been shot? You know what I mean? If ever.
So like this right here, I love. Like they're just like shooting her right there, like close range, and she's just like, nope.
There
How many
is
people
gangster
did
in this
she kill?
movie.
Yeah,
So
you just killed 5 people in that like second and a half.
Jania and I were pregnant after this, and if it had been a girl, I wanted to name her Feora.
Middle name Ol.
but it did not happen.
Well, I got to name my daughter Alora. So
I know. That's why I said it'd been hilarious if I had a daughter named Feora and you had a Laura.
I tried really hard to convince my wife to name my son Calvin Ellis so I could call him Cal L.
nice.
She did not go for it. I never explained why I wanted that name. I just said I like the way it sounds.
I mean, hey, we got to try, right, guys?
Hey, I floated Kara too, but that was a no-go. But I did Alora, and she liked the sound of it, and she gave her the middle name. I was like, perfect, sounds great. And then she didn't ask for a long time, but she figured it was probably from Superman.
I like this Blade versus Blade. He's ready to go, too. He's going to get demolished.
He's ready to throw hands.
He's about to get demolished, too.
Oh, yeah.
I
He
can
just
see
watched
Feora being
everybody-
like, I'm going to take him on with no powers here, too. I love the headcanon of them all being in the Phantom Zone together. And him and Feora, you know, meeting up
Yeah.
there.
Look, a train. Oh, man.
like through an entire
The Axor just launches the train. It's just, in a good way, it's just the Snyder levels of ridiculousness sometimes.
oh yeah, Namek just throwing that train car.
I'm just looking at like the cars in the
Hey, that was
background.
the engine.
Yeah,
That was the engine. That wasn't just a car. That was a full engine.
I was just looking at the cars in the background. Like there was like looked like a UPS truck coming down, looking the street in the background. Could you imagine just pulling into the town? Yeah, I'm going to drop off my next load. What is going on here?
Right.
He just
Alien ships, giant plane crashing into the street.
It's the same driver from Zack Snyder's Justice League who crashes the truck with the burger.
I love the shot, but I love seeing the behind the scenes how they did it. This right here.
I love the director's commentary where Snyder's the one who like fluttered the cape right there.
Yeah, so I'm saying like
Yeah,
push.
just
He's
out of
just back
frame.
there. He's just doing it like this. Yeah.
This is
And I love the boots there. It looks like the
Yeah.
boots are like a second skin. They look like your calf muscles, the separation from the soleus and the gastrocnemius.
Look at James getting all biological on this.
But he's right. I think that's something because Zack Snyder places such an importance on the physicality for his
Yes.
actors and stuff that like, and the Jim Jones people talk about it when they helped Henry train for this. Like, the example is the comic book. Like Superman is a Greek god, and that everything has to accentuate that in some way.
Somewhere in here, guys, there was we forgot to point out Aaron Smolinski, who played the baby or young toddler Clark in Superman the movie.
Number 9.
Oh, okay.
He was in that scene. I love this.
He was the one who did the car, right? The truck.
I think
So
so.
it didn't fall on Jonathan.
Yeah. In Superman the movie, yeah.
Yeah, or the toddler, not the infant on Krypton.
Yeah, the toddler.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love this.
Diane Lane is so good here. Like, it's just stuff.
But you can't.
Stuff like that right there informs the secret identity, you know,
That's why I like the idea that
without calling it out.
like right here, like I like that, like the idea that maybe Smallville kind of knows, but it's like their big secret that they keep. Like right here, she's yelling Clark. Superman's right there in the police station. That dude knows straight up. Like that police officer. Like, it'd been funny if Superman watched a Tunis game of look and he's like, I got you, bro. Won't say
Well,
anything.
That's Clark Kent. I went to school with him.
I love that. Like,
It'd been awesome if it was Whitney. Like, it said officer like Foreman, and like he pulls up and Clark just walks by and he goes, I'm sorry. And Clark takes off. Like,
I do love how Smallville's kind of changed that though. Like, everyone in Smallville knew that Clark was doing special things. Like, it's hinted at, and then you get Superman and Lois where like not everyone knows, but there's enough people who are like, oh yeah, do you remember that time Clark was in a car wreck and walked away totally fine?
I that's the
Like-
one thing about the final season of Superman Lois. I wish he had just revealed himself to like Smallville instead of the whole world. Like I like the idea that it's like a Smallville thing.
This world engine shot right here.
Yeah, what they do there. I mean, like when I first saw it, I was wondering if the Codex had
I
anything
need a
to
drink.
do
I'll be right
with
back. I need a drink.
him and
Anything?
his
You okay?
him being a little more special or anything. But it really doesn't turn out to be anything. But it does really make him the hope for the future of
Yeah.
of the race of Krypton.
I love how the pace like exponentially kicks up here.
Yeah,
Like there's no like third act lull or like slowly setting the stage. Like once this starts, the movie really moves at a breakneck pace for the rest of it.
and it is over 20 minutes. I swear that guy who crouched down behind her, I recognize him. I could not say from what, but I will not say it's Smallville. But I know him from someplace. No, but that scene when they launch the world engine, does he have to be alive for us to remove the Codex? No. All right. Well, let's kill him and the entire planet with him.
Yes.
Zod is so gangster.
Oh my god,
But
look, Perry
when we
White's
were at-
face.
When we were at the beginning, that's why I said when Zod does the I will find him stuff, like you can just see something in him is snapped. And he's
Solo. You all right,
a
buddy?
broken person.
That's a
now.
cool shot of Zod like looking out at Metropolis.
Oh yeah.
I'm right. I'm back, fellas.
Linking to the world engine through the planet.
I had to go get some more drink. Woo woo! There's Shania. Woo woo!
Oh, these effects look so good.
The water going up. The dubstep right here. Dum. More people. People are like, what's that? Yeah, that's how.
And
fast
then they
it is.
drop the dubstep.
Let the bass drop.
And this was intense. Like
Oh
those
my God.
people are dead.
Yeah, they
How
should have
many
been.
people died off that first
Oh, yeah.
pulse?
I kind of like the idea that with each pulse, like it gets stronger. So like people don't weigh as much, so they're not lifted up yet. Like it's the heavier objects that go up first, like the cars and stuff. And as it gets like heavier, then people start getting lifted. Now, okay, one thing about this, right? I completely get what they're doing here. Okay. But there's like no repercussion we talk about the little bit of whatever it was that they did do here to Earth.
Yeah.
Like there's no like, oh, like whatever they did to the atmosphere shifted Earth and screwed us up, or tore up our core or anything. Like it's just
Well, I think you can make the argument that because they never gave a timeline for how long the terraforming would take, like it doesn't say, oh,
there we go.
Superman's got 2 hours to stop this, or oh, it's going to take a week, or
We got
And he's the first person who gets to say Superman.
old Dan Turpin. They said Superman in this movie twice. The ship here.
Yes, I have. I own In the Cold Light of Day with Henry Cavill, Bruce Willis, and Sigourney Weaver. Yes, I own that movie.
Oh, is that
that's quite the figure there too, walking over.
It's interesting. He does a good job in that movie. He has to act very differently because he's not a hero. He's not a special agent or anything like that in that movie. He's like a normal person whose family is involved with those types of people. Bruce Willis was.
Are we at 9 for Smallville people? Is that where we are? I think.
Played North Com threat analyst, Smallville. And 812. If 812 was bulletproof, we counted him, and that means we're up to 8, I think. I don't think we've gotten
Okay.
9 yet.
Okay. I like this.
How many people?
8. I like this. He's like, I gotta try.
I like that. And I like the way he speaks to the general. the general.
Yeah,
Like, the command he uses in his voice, the self-assuredness.
and then the worry right here. This was the shot that was in the teaser trailer.
Down to his sides. Then it goes up.
Oh yeah. That's how James Cole does it. This is just
I-
ridiculous.
You got a Superman that what?
Oh, this is just
I hope
ridiculous.
the flying scenes in the new movie can meet the standard, like the sonic booms in this, like the physicality the flying has.
It's going to be interesting because technology has come. Oh, it's progressed because they shot Superman on the volume, didn't they, in Georgia? We
think
talked about
parts
this a little
of
bit. Yeah, parts of it. So, that's a beautiful shot right there.
Yeah.
I would have 1,000 nukes not destroy that thing.
So this
I love Zod here.
So this is what sucks. Like you have Zod, like that's cool. Like the music you hear,
Yeah, focusing his senses, his sight, and the sounds he's hearing. His hearing.
Zod goes out here and finds the scout ship. Okay, question, my friends.
Command key accepted.
Here,
Genesis chamber coming online, sir.
Zod takes the scout ship, but he left his other ship, right? So
Yep.
wouldn't that other pod ship still be out there somewhere for someone to find?
In
It
theory.
would- in theory, it would be right where that ship took off from, where Clark had left it.
I like to think Clark flew up there and hit it. Like,
That's-
you guys
that's
already
good.
got my fortress. You don't need this ship too.
Yeah. Okay. I have a love-hate with this scene. Okay. Because I like this. It's him on his own. It's kind of making him weak around the atmosphere. This feels a little Brainiac-ish here. I like this, but at the same time, I feel like this helps make things go a little bit long.
No.
No, just no.
No, I think for me it's just such a fun scene, and you can't have Superman can't be flying cover for the Air Force here, because then that kind of defeats the point of their mission. Otherwise, he could just carry the ship himself and drop it.
I mean, it's true.
And you can't have him squaring up with any other Kryptonians at this point.
I mean, it's
I
true.
mean,
It's true.
I do appreciate the fact that he is needed on another part of the planet. He's the only one who can go there. He's the only one who can do it in this time. The whole self-defense of it all. I mean, I think the sequence is really cool. For it to be weakening him, is it going to just be hard enough for him to destroy the thing in a quick sequence, or are we going to do an action-packed sequence?
That's crazy. Like how the gravity is affecting all the planes.
We'll all agree with you, Tyler, on him fighting the World Engine. I think it sometimes goes into Zack Snyder's worst tendencies during the scene of CGI spectacle.
Yeah.
But I do think it tells, through what it does, the story of Superman believing in himself and overcoming.
God, that'd be a sight.
And I do love that I called it that the World Engine is what created Kryptonite, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
After
totally
the
make-
movie came out, I said it makes absolute sense that is how Kryptonite would be. It would exist on the planet.
it makes complete sense.
And I do love how everyone in Metropolis went to the Prometheus school of running away from stuff.
The only my complaint is we never see Clark as a newspaper.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like there's too much Superman.
Ooh, you think there's too much Superman in this? I do think it's interesting because he spends the majority of this movie in suit. That's usually like one of the complaints you have in a lot of films is, oh, he's not in the costume enough, or he's not in the suit enough. He spends the majority of this movie in the Superman suit.
It's too bad, and it was never like talked about, but like a proper prequel between Jor-El and Zod, because there's some good in the novelization, some good backstory stuff on them. Because these two together, these scenes are just acting master classes.
Oh yeah, they are very, very good together.
Michael Shannon in this, even when he's being quiet, like his intensity, like feels like it's slapping you in the face.
He's just one of those actors that I will watch anything he's in.
He's getting to that point for me. If Michael Shannon's in a movie, it's probably going to be on my watch list.
I think I've seen all of his movies. I think I have to double check, but like there was a time where I was like, after this, I was like, I'll watch everything he's in. And
You know, it's not an underrated movie, but him in it is underrated. It's Pearl Harbor
yeah,
as Goose.
that movie's full of people that you don't think about. So you like go back and watch later.
That and
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down.
Oh yeah, Black Hawk Down. You are right.
I love the ship just tosses them into the gravity beam. Like, it's just
Well, any other being, it would obliterate, you know.
Yeah, Perry.
it's just so funny. Like
And if he, sorry, is what's so funny?
I mean, it literally like just like reaches down and tosses them.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
tossing them into the trash.
I mean, it seems like a foolproof defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really does. But
I want- The Kryptonian who wrote that program, I'd like to have a conversation with.
See, I love
Right.
this. I love this scene here because it shows you a good side of Perry. Like he's not gonna let Ginny stay.
yeah, be there alone during this.
And
And
I
like-
like that it
I-
shows that the people of Metropolis help each other, and they're just
Yeah.
doing it through the characters we know in the movie. But like, even in this like tragic moment, they're still there.
Yeah.
I
What
also
you don't get, and what people get so upset about, is the destruction of Metropolis. The majority of the destruction of Metropolis is currently going on.
yeah.
The majority of people who died in Metropolis are dying right now. And
I wonder-
Superman is on the other side of the world stopping it from happening.
Yes.
But he gets no credit for that in this movie.
See, I love this right here. He grabs her hand. He's ready.
Wish list for any of people out there. I want the shot of
That
Clark in the
shot.
gravity beam with his arm up,
Uh-huh.
the widescreen shot of it.
Yeah.
If I can get that framed for my wall.
Oh yeah.
That shot was where he looks a lot like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
And
People.
they say he does that. They never put it in digitally, but I mean, maybe just that intensity and the fan and the effects to
Yeah.
make
Exactly.
it look all that.
Yeah.
I love how when he goes through it, you can see him go out the side and go flying off to the side out of the explosion.
Well, I just love this scene because I love that I totally buy her fear and her terror for what's about to happen, and I totally buy Perry just holding her hand, accepting their fate together. Like he's just, I'm here. We're gonna go out together.
And that's Carol Ferris right there.
It was supposed to be, wasn't it? Or was it supposed to be your sister or something?
Well, it says Ferris on her name tag on her uniform.
Yeah. So I couldn't remember if it was supposed to be Carol directly or if it was going to be like connected to Carol.
Right.
Does Perry die?
Huh?
Perry died.
See, I love this shot, like up close, the hand raising towards the sun.
Oh yeah.
I do like that. It's not him flying into the sun to recharge every time. It's him on the ground, pretty much beaten at this point, or almost beaten at this point, and he's reaching for that energy. That's what she said.
James.
That's the next movie, James.
Yeah, right. We made that joke the other day. We were talking in the office, and one of us said something. I can't even remember what it was said, but I was like, "That's what she said," and we cracked up.
That joke is still daily in my household.
Oh yeah.
I've got the
Oh.
humor of a 5th grader.
I told James I was at a thing at work, and this trainer, she just was like not with it, and I mean she was saying things so much, and I was just like freaking out because I could not comment on anything, and I was like, I just started texting James like because I'm like I have to say something to somebody.
He texted me his frustration about not being able to say something. He's like, "What she's saying? It's just it either sounds dirty or you can do like a, that's what she said or something." But
I mean, it was like really strong to where you're just like,
and that part right there, Krypton had its chance.
and this is like here goes the scout ship tearing through buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, Clark didn't have to destroy the directional controls of the ship.
Yeah, there is one thing that I will point out here when we watch it that I will straight up be like, okay, this was a douche move, Superman. Okay, like, and I'll show you when it happens.
That one, it might be like you live, you learn. Like crap, like that was a bad move.
It is a learning experience for him in this movie. I'll give him a little bit of slack, but
I like Emil Hamilton right here, like, oh, I figured it out.
Yeah, and that guy's gone. He's dead. Fedora came right up through the bottom of the ship.
Yeah,
I like to think Fedora aimed for him.
Solomon just called out the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
I didn't write that down. I already knew that how to roll.
Fedora just tanking grenades.
It's like, what do you do?
I like how they recognize each other, and he's like, "Nope, I got a mission this time."
I like
Yeah.
how she gives him a little. She makes eyes at him.
Oh, that guy got swatted.
Yeah. You've got to appreciate their use of the non-pink mist constantly in this movie. The way that she keeps hitting people. She every time she hits somebody, it's devastating.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, in the Phantom Zone, these two are
Battling for all eternity.
battling. We'll go with battling.
It's a different kind of battling.
She wouldn't have powers in the Phantom Zone. They can finally have their
Yep.
knife fight.
Yep. I think that's so cool looking at her just falling, looking up like he's like, oh, Lois. I got
See,
you.
I'm always not too sure if like her falling in this moment is, or if she began falling and the gravity just hadn't caught up to her mass yet.
I'll go with that because if you look how he's flying down hard because it's trying to pull him back up.
I'm gonna go with Harrison Ford here. It ain't that type of movie, kid.
Right? I know it's a complaint that I've heard, and I was just like, I don't know. I'm wondering, think physics. Like, is these things going to work out exactly? I'm not a physicist.
That is
I'm
not
not
a
a
problem with
physicist.
grounding your movie in reality, like they did with this. Is then you do open yourself up to physics questions. Whereas if you go full comic booky, which it looks like the new one's doing, like you get away with a bit more.
I
Go
like how
listen to Man of Steel Answers. The guy who talks on that is brilliant, and he will tell you a lot of stuff, a lot of real science.
And they say this movie isn't funny.
I know.
And that was cheesy as hell.
But that's the joy of it though. Like, see, that's the problem. They think that everything's done. They don't realize that Zod's still here. I like how when he brought her there, like, it's right by Perry and them. Like, see, I like that, the subtle flying.
Well, they were right on the outskirts of this destruction.
Yeah. Okay, Michael Shannon here is about to give us some real A-class work.
You know, you could have went to Mars and built a new Krypton or Neptune.
Don't go to Mars.
You know?
Mercury.
So, of my
I think we have another Smallville.
But you're still evil because what says that the greater good of your people is the complete genocide of an entire planet so your people can exist?
Yep.
I think the Zod speech should be talked about the way Anakin and Obi-Wan's is at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Ooh, I agree with that. Okay, I gotta tell you, this
So
this
good.
this kid auditioned for my play, and his audition was a speech from Revenge of the Sith, and I was like, kid, you're in it just for that. Like, I am totally casting you because you
Who
pulled.
was it that?
Awesome.
So here is something I didn't like about the movie is his line, "You're a monster, Zod, and I'm gonna stop you." It's like so cheesy. It's on the nose.
Yeah, but sometimes cheesy is fun.
But it doesn't fit the tone. Like, we know Zod's a monster. He just said he was gonna genocide the
love
planet.
this. Yeah, in such anger, the first time his heat vision releases, it levels an entire building.
Isn't this?
But he doesn't even know what happened. Look at his face.
It's the Wayne Tech building.
Jack.
It
Somebody
is
had
the
to say
Wayne
it.
Tech building.
Somebody had to say it. Jack.
Yeah.
It does have a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Superman just floating there too. Is he like looking around like,
The whole as the floor falls out.
They're like, great. We thought we were done with this building falling stuff. That is intense.
Yeah, that's a parking garage.
I love
I love this shot.
them
Him
jumping
walking out
between
with
the
All right,
This
here comes my shot. Right here. This is the douche move. Right here. Floats in between. Lets that blow up and take out the parking garage.
I mean,
the
Do you
douche part is
expect an
turning around and
oil
looking at
tanker
the
to do, though?
explosion.
I just expect him to stop the tanker. And
I like this little brawl though,
I do too. But I
where
expect
they're
him
actually
to-
throwing hands.
expect him to
I love
stop.
that the car falls on him and stops him in mid-fight.
I think this is the best illustration of like what they talk about on the special features of Clark's a boxer who
Yeah.
throws haymakers and Zod's a soldier with training.
Right there. That's the line right there. Okay. That's called foreshadowing and is setting up the end of the movie.
Yeah, he's telling you he won't stop. He's telling you he's going to kill him.
That's intense right there.
The
Let's work.
shockwave.
I love this right here. This is such subtle comedy. 106 days without an accident. And that intensity where he incinerates an I-beam. 0 days without incident.
So we've had 3 LexCorp references. Now, the parking garage, the truck, and then this building here. On a
I know
farm?
there's a Batman sticker somewhere in this scene.
Yeah, it's the Batman thing. Or
Oh, the
Wayne.
Batman. There's a Batman poster in that building
yeah,
when
yeah.
it collapses. Yeah, forgot to call out that. That's one of those Easter eggs.
I love Zod ripping off the armor too, and then just levitating. It's like a giant FU. Like I
It's-
did
it's-
this in 5 minutes.
It's the last thing of like, I am now at your power level. A
Yeah.
minute ago, you could fly, I couldn't. Now I can, and we are now more on equal plane.
This
And I
right
think-
here is mimicked in everything.
Yes.
Yeah, and Hans Zimmer snaps with the score right here. Like it goes to a different level. I think. And there's no way this effect is 12 years old. Like this is so good.
I know. Like, there's very little in here that I'm like, oh, it doesn't hold up. There's a few shots of like the background people and stuff. Where it looks like, okay, they're on a green screen, like, but most of this, like, no, it holds up amazingly.
This twirl where you can see the logo in Zod's eye, right there.
As he throws him through how
Yeah.
many buildings?
And then I love Jay. If you don't follow him, Jay Olivet, who
Yeah.
does some
Yeah.
of the animated movies, and then he storyboarded this with Snyder. and they were struggling to come up with the fight. And he's like,
There's
"Well, I
the
have some
Wayne.
ideas," and then he went and watched Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of Dragon Ball Z call outs during the fight too. The
After-
slanting through the building, like with the head and stuff and all that.
Yeah, yeah. And in all honesty, and it's in comic books and it's in animation. How many times has Superman thrown through multiple buildings? Like, it's not the first time.
There's another.
This
Lex.
is actually his first time. You know.
Okay. All right. This is the one part we kind of saw how far Lois was. She gets there really fast. That's all I'm going to say. She gets really fast.
Yeah. But you see right here, everybody's running from the right to the left. Okay. Everybody's running from that side to the left. So our exit is to the left, which maybe means right now it's blocked. They have no place to go.
And look, like I said, she's there, not even out of breath. She got there way too fast.
It ain't that.
He runs ultra marathons.
Like, I see it in his face right here.
I've always said I think you can not like that this happens, but the story puts him in a place where it's the only thing that can happen.
And yeah,
So-
and people are like, well, they should have done that. I'm like, that was the whole point of the story, was to put, and like, if they had made it a bigger deal,
You
how
can
he-
write your way around anything.
I like this.
It was written that way to be intentional.
Yes. And like, you see him like angry that he did it. And like, if they would have kept that like as a theme for like the rest of them, like really about how he won't kill and he'll, like, it really would help set him up. But okay, this is something I do hate in this movie coming up.
I think I remember you telling me about this part that you hate.
We go from that scene
to here.
to this scene. Like, this scene just feels like it's put in extra. Like,
I
Just-
do like this scene though.
I do, but I feel like it's the scene where you're like, I don't know where to put this.
Yeah. But I think it goes, and it's obviously ahead of its time with this, but like it goes to the changing it from truth, justice, and the American way to what's the current phrase? Truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
And a better tomorrow.
Like he's coming straight out and being like, I don't work for you.
See,
Plus,
even,
Henry looks great in the suit in this scene.
but like I said, it just to go from that serious of a tone to this.
I love that. I grew up in Kansas, General.
I like to think the military's figured out who he is as well.
Even if I'm willing to try.
feel
Right.
like-
That as long as Superman is on the side of good and humanity, like, won't take action against it, right?
It's one of those
It's some-
scenes that's just really great, but at the same time, like,
I
yes,
think you're right, Romello.
yeah, there should have been more scenes with Swanwick and Clark, and then this right here. I just think he's kind of hot. Like, it's just such a undercut of like the emotional beat we just left on, and like if you would have faded from Lois to this, I think it's much more of the emotional part. But I feel like that last scene,
Yeah,
it just
but if
you-
you fade from Lois and Clark to this, then there is no place to put that last.
exactly, that's the problem, is you don't really have anywhere to go with that scene.
Unless you do it as a post credit, but they were pretty adamant they don't want to do a post credit at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it only would have fit as a post-credit scene, but when it comes down to it in this movie, it was him accepting and trusting humanity.
Okay, so this right here is beautiful. It's beautifully shot, but it almost doesn't make sense. Okay, because who is this kid emulating? Like, why is he wearing this cape? Now, how do I fix this? If you would have done one thing I loved in the New 52 was that the cape Jor-El was wearing, it's his cape that he takes off and wraps the baby in. if we had got something like that, to where the idea, like maybe Baby Clark's first memory is seeing his dad in that cape, and he doesn't even realize that he's emulating Jor-El, like his first memory.
And
I got how you
I don't
said
know.
it.
In my opinion, I feel like it's just a kid who is a good kid.
Ramella
Like
said what I was gonna say here.
Maybe it's
maybe
Warrior
it's
Angel.
Warrior Angel. I just feel like it's a person who's he's gonna be a good person. He's a good kid all the way back then. I mean, it fits with the moment of her saying that he's seen it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I
Because
know.
he believes that he's going to be a good person and he's going to change the world.
So here's something we talked about in our Cavill era recap, that it was so hard to disguise him as Clark by the time they get to BVS because of how big he got. I think Man of Steel's his perfect size because he still looks like he goes to the gym in this coat and flannel, but like
Yeah.
he doesn't look like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gained, what was it, 25 or 30 pounds to this point, and he gained another
think it was like-
18 or something.
Yeah. It was like
He
another.
was
Above
massive
this?
by the time Justice
Yeah,
League happened.
to be in Batman versus Superman.
There we go, fellas. I love it. Even as cheesy at the end, like "Welcome to the Planet."
No, Welcome to the Planet. I
It's
think
great.
It's
great.
perfect.
It is a perfect little button on the end.
There's
And
so many meanings to it. It's the first contact sci-fi story that we've kind of been talking about the whole time.
Right. As well as, of course, Welcome to the Daily Planet.
but buddy,
When he was playing the dog,
Huh?
I tried to see the dog because he was Clark was close to that dog.
And plus,
Mhm.
Hans Zimmer's score over the credits here is just
amazing.
chef's kiss.
Absolutely.
I have to say that
Ramella likes the line too.
I think it's great, and I like that it's what do you call it? I like that we kind of get like a montage of him getting hired at the Daily Planet, and we set him up there as Clark as we know him at the planet, instead of going through the whole process of him getting hired and meeting Perry and all that. And I like to think that in my head canon that Lois helped secure him a job there, you know, to get him there because she realizes and everything like he can do it. But all right, fellas.
Oh, the introduction at the end, I don't know, maybe doesn't seem that way, but who knows?
We did it. We set it up. We are done.
We did.
So all right, guys.
My
Let's,
favorite Superman movie, and 2.5 hours is never a waste to watch this movie.
yeah, I think 2.5 is like a good sweet spot. So
For sure.
like right here, I stopped the credits it's at 2:13, where it says produced by Deborah Snyder. So we're at 2:13. So it's really not as long as some people make it sound like it is, you know. But let us know your comments and your thoughts. Thanks for joining us, and remember,